Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. All people, sign in successfully and get the frost dragon egg at the beginning. Chapter 21. I saw Qin Fan calmly lifting the Xuanjing earth scale sword, and then, he swept the sword with an understatement. Poof. A dozen goblin monsters that required 2 output concentrated fires to be killed instantly were cut in half by the terrifying sword energy he swung, killing them on the spot. He didn't even have time to scream. After killing more than a dozen goblin monsters with one sword, Qin Fan did not retreat, but stepped forward hard. Bang! Under his terrifying power, the ground sank directly. And the Xuanjing earth scale sword in his hand also swung the second sword again. Wow! The extremely sharp sword energy spread out like ripples at a speed visible to the naked eye. What followed was a section of the goblin's upper body, and sticky blood splashing like a fountain. Bang bang bang! The group of goblins that were howling crazily and rushing towards the adventure team before were now all dead. And the culprit behind all this. But he only swung his sword twice. Silly. Everyone in the team was dumbfounded. Everyone was stunned, and their cheeks were filled with shock and disbelief. It was as if the inner cognition had been severely shaken and shattered. However, Qin Fan shocked everyone far more than that. With a tap of his toes, his whole figure used the force to jump to the top of these wooden buildings. Whoosh! Another sword energy. Ah! The little goblins who controlled the crossbows and slinging turrets only had time to let out a shrill scream before they and the crossbow were cut in half by the sword energy. Call out! The little goblin manipulating the crossbow turret on the other side gritted his teeth and suddenly shot an arrow at a tricky angle at the human figure that terrified them all. Small. The word, heart, has not yet left Suru's mouth. Click. The steel feather arrow that came at a rapid speed was grabbed by Qin Fan with his hand and snapped in half. What a terrifying sensory reaction. What a terrifying power. Even the feather arrows made of steel can be easily broken. Immediately afterwards, another sword energy swept out, ending the remaining 2 goblin soldiers and ending the third wave of monster attacks. Even the Xuanjing earth scale sword was not stained with the blood of the monster. When Qin Fan landed on the ground again, he found that the expressions of everyone in the team were frozen, and they were all staring at him as if they were seeing monsters. Now that the monster has been dealt with, should we move on? Qin Fan asked calmly. What responded to him was deathly silence. Especially Zhou Xuanqin and Fatty, who were looking for an opportunity to kill Qin Fan, looked even more pale at this moment. Why are you so strong? After holding it in for a long time, Lan Mao, an assassin in the team, swallowed hard and then asked in a trembling voice. Others also looked at Qin Fan in disbelief. They can't figure it out. Isn't it said that the Dragon Master is rubbish without contracting a dragon? Then why is Qin Fan's combat power so terrifying? In 2 seconds, they killed a group of monsters that took them half an hour to deal with. And this guy seemed to be just swinging his sword from beginning to end, without using any skills at all. Coupled with that terrifying fighting intuition, and the surging strength that can easily break steel. No one wants to believe that this is something a dragon master without a dragon can do. Faced with Lan Mao's inquiry, Qin Fan replied coldly, Do I have the obligation to answer you? Everyone. If Qin Fan dared to speak to them in this tone before entering the secret realm, then they would definitely beat him up. But now, all of them could only shrink their heads. Although their faces were ugly and their hearts were unhappy, they did not dare to refute. Because the other party is too strong. But it was Suru who looked at Qin Fan with a pair of beautiful eyes filled with brilliance. Next, we will all follow Qin Fan's command. Do you have any objections? At this time, Suru even took the initiative to stand up and put forward suggestions that made Zhou Xuanqin grit his teeth. Everyone looked at each other in complete silence. According to the usual rules, it is true that whoever is stronger in the team will be the leader. The outstanding combat power displayed by Qin Fan in front of him could be said to have crushed everyone. Since everyone is silent, it can be considered as agreed. Suru said with a smile. In this regard, Qin Fan is happy to see the success. First of all, he didn't want to hear Zhou Xuanqin's self-righteous command again. Secondly, he also sensed the strong murderous intention shown by Zhou Xuanqin and the fat man towards him. That's right, it's murderous intent. Don't underestimate the SSS level passive skill, Bloodline Fusion. Even the excellent perception and combat intuition unique to the Dragon Clan were inherited by Qin Fan. This is also the reason why he can easily neutralize the monster's sneak attack without even looking. And the Dragon Clan also has a very keen sense of those malicious intentions directed at them. Qin Fan had just noticed the strong murderous intention directed at him from Zhou Shuenken and the Fat Man. So Qin Fan didn't mind taking over the command position. Be careful when sailing the ship that lasts 10,000 years. Even if you are already invincible among your peers, you can go a long way by being cautious. Right, the rules of benefit distribution remain unchanged. Whoever has a higher proportion of output will receive a greater proportion of rewards. Qin Fan's words. Let everyone open the team's damage statistics panel. Then they saw in despair. Output ratio. No. 1. Qin Fan, output accounted for 80%. No. 2. Zhou Shuenken, output accounted for 10%. No. 3. Li Dafu, output accounted for 5%. No surprises. Qin Fan was the highest. After all the DPS of the third wave of monsters belonged to him. His teammates at the time were dumbfounded and completely forgot about the output. As a priest, Su Ru was at the bottom. But because of the special nature of the profession, it is normal. Only, the proportions of output professions such as Zhou Shuenken and Li Dafu are disappointing. This means that in addition to the pastor's fixed income, Qin Fan will split 80% of the remaining total income. As for the team lineup allocation, everything is under the command of Su Ru. I am free to express myself. After all, I don't want you to hold me back. Qin Fan's cold words were like a slap, hitting them hard in the face. The key is, they still can't refute. The Dragon Master who was despised and spurned by them before. Now he turned around and became a being that they needed to look up to. At this time, they couldn't help but doubt in their hearts. This Qin Fan has become so powerful. Is it possible that he was actually contracted to a high-level dragon clan? But they quickly shook their heads and rejected it. Impossible. He must have gotten so lucky and ate some kind of natural treasure to become so strong. As for contracting to the legendary Dragon Clan, that is absolutely impossible. After this incident, Zhou Shuenken and others, who originally laughed at and looked down on Qin Fan, fell into collective silence. They no longer dared to point fingers at Qin Fan. Su Ru breathed a sigh of relief when she saw this. She was really afraid that Zhou Shuenken would continue to provoke Qin Fan without good reason. She has a sixth sense. If Qin Fan had not been brought into this secret realm before, this adventurous team would definitely have died here. Since this third wave of monsters was almost all dealt with by Qin Fan himself, the others only focused on watching the show, which did not consume much energy. He did not choose to rest, but continued to move deeper into the village. Finally, after walking forward for a few minutes, in front of a gate, I saw a 5-meter-tall goblin heavily armored warrior with explosive muscles all over his body. The reason why it is said to be reinstallation. That's because this giant goblin is wearing a heavy steel armor and a huge helmet, and is armed from head to tail, leaving only a gap so that he can see the scene in front of him clearly. And in his hand was a huge rusty iron sword. Roar! When this giant goblin saw the human appearing in front of him, he roared in anger. But Qin Fan still calmly scanned the other party with his eye of appraisal. Monster. Giant goblin. Level 17. Type. Humanoid monster. Skills. War stomp, charge assault, powerful slash, skin hardening, support call, madness. Qualification. Silver. Note. The Goblin King's right-hand man has extremely powerful strength and strong defense. He will be immune to 30% of normal physical attacks. Everyone, be careful. This should be an elite monster. Don't be careless. Su Ru also reminded other teammates with a serious face at this moment. However, the words just fell. Roar! The giant goblin just charged towards everyone with terrifying destructive power. Charge assault. This is its exclusive skill. At the same time, you can see that its originally green skin quickly turned brown at this moment, as if a layer of brown paint had been painted on its body. Skin hardening. This is why it is immune to 30% physical attacks. Su Ru, Zhou Shuenken, Li Dafu and others fled quickly. But the fat man in the warrior profession is one step slower because his agility is not high enough. At this critical moment, he could only grit his teeth and raise his shield. A loud bang. Everyone saw that Fatty, who could handle even the charge of dozens of goblins, was knocked away without any resistance by the collision of this giant goblin. While the fat man was flying backwards and vomiting blood, the giant goblin actually stopped abruptly from running forward. He forcibly twisted his body and locked his sights on Lee Dafu. Lee Dafu's expression changed. He never expected that this giant goblin would not only possess huge power, but also be so agile and flexible. Run. There was no hesitation. As an assassin, it was impossible for Lee Dafu to fight against such an elite monster. In desperation, he directly activated the shadow stealth and hid in the surrounding rooms. Idiot. Facing Lee Dafu's move, Chin Fan just said these two words coldly. The next second, it seems that it is really to confirm Chin Fan's evaluation. Lee Dafu rushed into the building and screamed instantly. At the same time, there was the sound of teeth tearing flesh and bones. Apparently, there are also many goblin monsters lurking in the room. As everyone knows, some games, when reaching the elite monster level, will set a skill for the elite monster to summon mobs. When Chin Fan saw a support summon in the giant goblin's skill information, he knew that in the seemingly empty rooms around him, there were actually a large number of goblin monsters living there. Only the giant goblin needs to use the support summon skill. These goblin monsters will rush out of the room crazily. And this Lee Dafu had no choice but to hide in the room. Needless to say, Lee Dafu is already dead. Listening to Lee Dafu's screams, the faces of several companions around him turned pale. Only Chin Fan remained calm and indifferent. As for why Chin Fan didn't save them, the reason is simple: they also want Chin Fan to die. Before, when this group of people looked at Chin Fan in the front row with mocking smiles, Chin Fan knew that they were eager to die. If he had not contracted with the blazing holy dragon, then he would still be weak and continue to serve as the front row, and he would probably die in the first wave of attacks by the mobs. To put it bluntly, on the surface, this is a team, but in fact, people's hearts have already turned against each other. Then Chin Fan would naturally not turn into the virgin to save the other party. Besides, without them, Chin Fan could still clear this secret realm. He has the cutest and most powerful little whine. Roar. Lee Dafu was solved. The giant goblin instantly focused its murderous and brutal gaze on Zhou Shuenken and others. Run. Without any hesitation, Zhou Shuenken turned around and ran away. Even when he passed by Su Ru, he never thought of running away with Su Ru. At this time, they have discovered that this secret realm is completely impossible to attack. Even if Su Ru, the priest, buffs them, they are still no match for this giant goblin. A brutal charge from the opponent can completely disrupt the entire team's formation. Seeing those boys running faster than dogs, the giant goblin snorted angrily and was too lazy to spend any more energy chasing these cowards. It focused its attention on the fair-skinned and beautiful Su Ru. Whoop whoosh. Just for a second, Su Ru's pretty face turned pale when she saw that the giant goblin was actually in a state of excitement, with dirty and sticky saliva constantly flowing down. This disgusting look is like a crazy man seeing a beautiful woman. Alas, Su Ru was so frightened that she quickly ran to Chin Fan's side. Chin Fan still has to take some care of Su Ru. You step back and leave this monster to me, Chin Fan said calmly. There was neither arrogance nor vows. But it was this calm voice that gave Su Ru a sense of security. Well, I can add some buffs to you. Su Ru nodded with great relief, then waved her scepter and gave Chin Fan all the buffs she could. Buzz. Chin Fan's combat effectiveness soared nearly 10 times at this moment. No wonder others have to ask for a priest as an auxiliary position when placing a dungeon. This kind of buff increase is really powerful. Feeling the overwhelming sense of power in his body, Chin Fan shook hands and showed a cold smile. Now, the giant goblin was already roaring and charging towards Chin Fan. It is still a combination of charge assault plus skin hardening. This giant goblin was like a bulldozer pushing everything across, carrying terrifying destructive power as it rolled towards Chin Fan. It's only 2 seconds. The distance of tens of meters was reduced to less than 2 meters by the giant goblin. Chin Fan could even smell the disgusting stench of this giant goblin. Kneel down for me. Facing this seemingly invincible giant goblin, Qin Fan let out a low shout, twisted his wrist, and the extremely sharp black crystal earth scale sword was swept out by him. Boom! The sharp sword energy slashed at its shoulder, making a close collision with its brown hard skin. Under the effect of 30% physical damage reduction, this invincible black crystal earth scale sword only left a shallow wound on it. Ah! But the troll goblin was screaming in agony at this moment, and the momentum of its fierce and unparalleled impact was blocked so abruptly. At the same time, because the sharp sword that struck his shoulder carried a huge force, it had to kneel down on one knee with a bang. Roar! The giant goblin who was forced to kneel on one knee felt that he had been subjected to endless humiliation. In this goblin village, only the Goblin King can make it kneel. How dare this tiny human being in front of me make him kneel down? Not convinced. Buzz! The giant goblin's muscles swelled again, and a frightening pressure swept out. Crazy! It finally used this trick to increase the buff. However, looking at the giant goblin whose aura was rising steadily, Qin Fan sneered. The reason why you are so arrogant is simply because of the protection of the armor and the physical immunity effect of skin hardening. But have you ever thought about what would happen if I fired a fire dragon bullet at your helmet at such a close range? The words fell. It doesn't matter whether the giant goblin understands it or not. Qin Fan suddenly let go of the Zanjing Earth Scale sword in his hand. The moment you let go of the Zanjing Earth Scale sword. Fire Dragon Bullet. The B-level skill that had been chanted long ago was blasted directly from Qin Fan's hand. And he blasted it through the gap in the giant goblin's helmet. Boom! Under Su Ru's extremely surprised gaze, the terrifying flame turned into a flame dragon, roared into the helmet, and completely melted the giant goblin's head. Bang! He didn't even have time to resist or scream. The huge figure fell straight down. At this point, the giant goblin elite monster has been successfully defeated. However, no materials, props, or equipment were dropped. Generally, you can only get the total reward after clearing the secret realm dungeon. Su Ru, who was watching the whole battle, just watched this young man completely crush this giant goblin that even Zhou Shuenken and the others could only escape. What makes her even more unbelievable is, Qin Fan actually knows how to use fire magic. She was sure that she was right. The flames that instantly burned the giant goblin to death were magic damage. And looking at the power of this skill, it is at least B level or above. This giant goblin has high object immunity and physical defense, but very low magic resistance. After Qin Fan hit his head like this, his head exploded and his flesh was completely burned away. After all, this is the exclusive skill of the Dragon Master, Fire Dragon Bullet. It looks similar to a mage's fireball technique, but it's actually many times stronger than the fireball technique. Qin Fan, do you want to continue moving forward? Su Ru also walked to Qin Fan's side at this time. Perhaps only being close to this boy can make her feel safe. Speaking of which, in just 2 days, she experienced real human indifference. The betrayal of Zhou Feng and Lu Qing. And Zhou Shuenken and others ran away at will. It can be said, if it weren't for Qin Fan, Su Ru would have died twice. Well, no people, no faces, but don't know hearts. Acquaintances will betray instead, but strangers help themselves. This had to make Su Ru feel filled with emotion. Of course I'll continue to conquer it, but if you're scared, you can leave first. I can also conquer it myself. Qin Fan said calmly. He is now a dragon master with a dragon. As long as there is a little wine, you are not afraid of anything. Gakao. And this time, sensing the departure of Zhou Shuenken and others, Xiaoju, who had been sleeping in Qin Fan's arms, poked his cute little head out of Qin Fan's collar. It squinted its eyes and hummed happily. Because it feels the owner's trust and dependence on it. No, I want to follow you. Although I am only an auxiliary profession, I can at least add buff to you and increase your combat power several times. Su Ru said firmly with a pretty face. Okay, then when the time comes the rewards will be distributed, and each of us will have half. Qin Fan is never stingy with teammates who are willing to follow him. So the two of them came to the gate of the last city fortress and slowly opened the gate. Wow! Outside the secret realm, 4 figures teleported out from the entrance vortex. It was Zhou Shuenken and the other 4. Originally there were 6 of them. Li Dafu and Fatty died inside. Only 4 people have now escaped safely. Moreover, During the escape process, the other two people were attacked by a sudden appearance of a monster and lost an arm. Now I can only reluctantly take elementary recovery pills to stop the bleeding. If you want to regenerate your broken arm, you may have to spend nearly 100 million dragon coins to get a second-level high priest to take action. Zhou Shuenken, who was in a state of embarrassment, couldn't help but curse. It is really hard for him to accept it. How could that useless dragon master be so powerful? Brother Zhou, what should we do now? One of them asked cautiously. Wait here for a moment until Qin Fan and Su Ru come out. Zhou Shuenken said in a deep voice. The entrance to the secret realm has not disappeared yet. That means Qin Fan and Su Ru should not be dead. Because in all wild secret realms, once someone enters and they all die, or if they all escape, the entrance to the secret realm will disappear. Appears randomly at the next location. The silver level wild secret realm is so difficult to defeat. It is said that the secret realm for the job transfer college entrance examination is also a copy of the silver level secret realm. And the difficulty is even higher than this, because it was the King of Hell who asked the question. Another person couldn't help but sigh bitterly. The so-called King of Hell is the nickname of a certain college entrance examination question maker. The name is Zhang Shaozhen. Zhang Shaozhen always liked to give some difficult secret realm copies as test questions in previous job transfer college entrance examinations, so he was called the King of Hell by the candidates. It probably means that the person who asked the question has no emotions and only knows how to embarrass the students. Brother Zhou, what should we do if Qin Fan takes Su Ru and clears this dungeon? A friend with dyed red hair couldn't help but ask. Was asked this. Zhou Shuenken fell into silence, and his eyes became completely gloomy. When Qin Fan's strong arms pushed open the door in front of him. Stepping into this cottage castle with Su Ru. The entire cottage castle is made of trees and various metal materials, making it extremely sturdy. Step by step, Qin Fan and Su Ru passed through several more gates and finally arrived at the deepest part of this cottage castle. In front of him was a hall filled with fishy smell. Decorations made of human bones were hung around. In the middle of the hall, there was a tall giant figure sitting cross-legged on an equally huge stone seat. Because the environment here is dark and gloomy, there is no light. As a result, the giant figure seemed to disappear into the shadows. Human. As if smelling a strange yet familiar scent, the giant figure who had been sleeping on the stone seat finally slowly opened his eyes. And when its scarlet eyes, which were bigger than copper bells, opened. Buzz. A powerful coercion unique to boss-level monsters swept away instantly. How many years? No human being has ever been able to come before this king alive. I didn't expect to see you two tiny humans today. This huge figure actually stood up from the stone seat while speaking human words. Su Ru was so frightened by this terrifying boss pressure that her pretty face turned pale. She never expected that the boss in the deepest part of this goblin village would be so terrifying. But she soon became happy. Fortunately, she didn't follow those cowards like Zhou Shuenken. Fortunately, she insisted on letting Qin Fan join the team. If it weren't for Qin Fan, Zhou Shuenken and others would have died when they faced the giant goblin. Now, even when faced with a boss that exuded terrifying coercion, Su Ru still did not despair, because she knew that Qin Fan definitely had a way to defeat this ultimate boss, which was even more powerful than a giant goblin. And Qin Fan has also used the Eye of Appraisal to thoroughly see the basic information of the boss in front of him. Monster. Goblin King. Level 19. Type. Humanoid monster. Talent. King's Authority. Skills. War Stomp, Charge Assault, Precision Throwing, Powerful Slash, Skin Hardening, Support Call, Madness, King's Protection, Magic Shield. Qualification. Silver. Note. The master of the Goblin Village possesses extremely terrifying strength and is brave enough to fear death. Can be seen. This Goblin King has one more talent information than the giant goblin. This is normal. Those high-level monsters, or boss, will basically have their own talents. For example, the Goblin King's Authority is immune to 70% of physical damage. It is an extremely powerful talent among monsters. At least this one skill is enough to crush an adventure team that prefers physics. More importantly, this boss also has the skill, Magic Shield, in his skill bar. As the name suggests, After use, a special shield can be formed on the boss to resist magic attacks. That is to say, the boss in front of him not only possesses extremely terrifying physical damage reduction, but also possesses the shield skill to restrain magic professions. If Zhou Shuenkin and others appeared here and saw such a terrifying boss, they would probably be frightened and run away. Qin Fan, what should we do? Seeing the boss, whose body was as big as a hill, stood up and picked up the sharp axe in his hand, Su Ru also asked nervously. She is now completely dependent on Qin Fan. Qin Fan asked her to go east, but she would never dare to go west. No need to do anything, we can just watch the show. This boss can live for more than 10 seconds, I think it is awesome. Qin Fan replied calmly. Ah, when Su Ru heard this, she was completely stunned. Just go to the theater. And such a powerful boss could not survive for 10 seconds in Qin Fan's eyes. This, haha, you are the first human being who is not frightened to the point of kneeling down when he sees this king, and who can be so arrogant. The Goblin King, who was proficient in human language, suddenly let out a contemptuous sneer. This moment, it slowly stood out from the shadows and stepped towards the direction of Qin Fan and Su Ru. Its huge body was clad in mottled armor that shimmered with light. What he held in his hand was a huge axe that could smash a dozen people into meat pies. Under its steps, bang, 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 under its trampling, the ground cracked like spider webs. Are you arrogant? You will know later whether I am arrogant or not. Qin Fan sneered. Immediately he shouted, small wine. Wow, a petite and cute figure emerged from Qin Fan's collar. The Goblin King didn't have time to see clearly what was flying out. Roar, a roar full of terrifying dragon power sounded directly under the horrified expression of the Goblin King. Hoo ho ho, a huge storm suddenly swept through the entire castle hall. But that originally petite and cute figure suddenly swelled up in the storm. Next second, Xiaoju finally showed its true size. A giant red dragon that was 10 meters tall and had its head reaching the ceiling appeared in front of everyone. This, Su Ru on the side looked at such a huge creature, her sharp chin almost dropped in shock, and her whole delicate body became stiff. Dragon, it's really a dragon, OMG. Moreover, the majestic and sacred aura exuded from its body made Su Ru understand that this giant dragon with endless flames burning all over its body is definitely a top-level existence among the dragon clan. Qin Fan actually contracted a dragon, and it was such a top-notch dragon. Ah, Su Ru's original fear of the boss monster was instantly cleared at this moment, and her inner worldview seemed to have been hit hard by a hammer and completely shattered. Actually, Su Ru is not the only one like this. Even the Goblin King, who originally walked towards Qin Fan and others with a grin, now had his ugly cheeks twitching as he looked at the terrifying creature that appeared in front of him. This invincible dragon that even it needs to look up to makes it feel a strong threat of death and deep fear. Certainly, what frightens it even more is. The young man named Qin Fan suddenly shouted, Xiaoju, with a smile. Gakao. As a result, the 10-meter-high flaming dragon actually narrowed its eyes, purred like a cat in its throat, and lowered its huge head in front of Qin Fan. This human being is only level 15. It actually made a sacred and noble blazing holy dragon lower its head. However, it was too late for the Goblin King to marvel. Because, the next second, I saw that human being looking at it with cold eyes, and at the same time giving orders to the blazing holy dragon. Xiaoju, have you seen this ugly monster in front of you? Give me a breath of dragon breath to kill it. When Xiaoju was upgrading, he had awakened the dragon-specific skill, Dragon Transformation. The form of Divine Fire destroys the world. The form of Shaking the Sky. In the Divine Fire world-destroying form, its own magic damage is increased by 500% and physical damage is reduced by 500%. In the form of Shaking the Sky, physical damage is increased by 500% and magic damage is reduced by 500%. Now Xiaoju was surrounded by blazing flames, and a scalding heat wave swept around, making the entire cottage castle begin to show signs of being burned, and even the surrounding temperature increased. Su Ru had to apply a shield of holy light on herself to barely isolate the heat wave that almost cooked her. As for being the owner of a small wine, Qin Fan would not be affected in any way even if he stood next to Xiaoju. This is the power of the Dragon Master profession. The Goblin King, who was the boss, was frightened to death, and the rolling heat wave made his skin almost cooked. It had to use a self-healing skill to continuously repair and resist the heat wave. It can still stand safely now. In fact, Xiaozhu saw the presence of his master's friend Su Ru, so he deliberately restrained the power of the divine fire in himself. Otherwise, with Xiaozhu's current, godly fire destroying the world attitude, if he fully launched it, let alone the Goblin King and Su Ru, I'm afraid even the cottage palace in front of me will be burned to ashes in an instant. And under Qin Fan's order, Xiaozhu raised his huge dragon head, and his golden vertical pupils filled with the might of the dragon looked down with contempt at the Goblin King, who was stiff with fear. That kind of look seemed to say, "How dare this little inferior creature show its teeth at my master?" Bang! The ground was not strong enough to bear the huge weight of Xiaozhu, so he moved his dragon feet towards the Goblin King. The Goblin King's eyes widened at this moment, his heart was filled with fear and despair, and for the first time he had the idea of escape. But it found that its hands and feet were completely stiff. Su Ru came back to her senses at this time. She stared blankly at the blazing holy dragon that seemed to be moving a hill, and looked at Qin Fan in disbelief. I originally thought the person who signed the contract with you was a lower-level dragon. I didn't expect it to be the top existence in the dragon clan, the blazing holy dragon. Although there is no record of any dragon master successfully taming a high-level dragon in this world. But this does not mean that humans do not have information about the dragon clan. Major countries have already ordered their publishing houses to prepare information books on major monsters and warcraft for the major career changers and adventurers to read and study. The records about the dragon clan are also very detailed. Su Ru had also carefully read the detailed introduction to the high-level dragon clan in the book. The majestic and blazing holy dragon, which looked like the Lord of Divine Fire, left a very deep impression on Su Ru. She never expected that she would see the blazing holy dragon, the legendary apex of the dragon clan, here today. I didn't even expect that this classmate, who is usually very low-key and has no sense of presence in the class, would be lucky enough to contract with such a legendary existence. This feeling can no longer be expressed with envy. In response to Su Ru's exclamation, Qin Fan's expression remained calm without any disturbance. However, Su Ru smiled bitterly to herself at the moment and murmured to herself. It is said that the Dragon Master is the most useless hidden profession. This statement is invalid for you, Qin Fan. If the whole world knew about Qin Fan's successful contract with a blazing holy dragon, their jaws would probably drop in shock. There is indeed no exaggeration in her statement. And this really made her feel extremely complicated. She has been dubbed a genius since childhood. It can almost be said that she should be the strongest priest among the high school students in Anning City. But compared to the monster Qin Fan, not only is he inferior to others in terms of combat power, but he also has the strongest dragon pet. Just asking if you are convinced. Now, Qin Fan didn't even bother to respond to Su Ru's wry smile. Because Xiaozhu has already moved his huge dragon body and arrived in front of the Goblin King. Level 7 Blazing Holy Dragon vs Level 19 Boss Goblin King. The Goblin King is clearly 12 levels higher than Xiaozhu. But the Goblin King suddenly knelt down with a thud. "Boss, please forgive me. I know I was wrong." The words are not finished yet. Raging, a dragon's breath wrapped in a raging wave of fire was spat out from the dragon's mouth of the small wine. In Su Ru's shocked sight, the Goblin King just had time to let out a scream, and then was instantly submerged in the waves of fire. Flash sale. Instant kill. The Goblin King didn't even have any resistance and died instantly from the dragon's breath. It probably never dreamed that it was just a small boss in the Silver Secret Realm, but it actually attracted a blazing holy dragon to kill it. Stop being in a daze, come up. Qin Fan took Su Ru's hand and jumped onto Xiaozhu's back with Su Ru. Gakao. Xiaozhu let out a roar of dissatisfaction at this time. It doesn't like humans other than Qin Fan climbing on its back. Okay, Xiaozhu, just think that I owe you a favor. After this incident, I will make you whatever you want to eat, and I will eat it until you are satisfied and comfortable. Qin Fan also quickly comforted his little dragon cub. As a noble and top-notch dragon, Xiaozhu treats all humans except Qin Fan as trash. Nature does not allow other humans to climb on its back. But Qin Fan can't help it. Xiaozhou's data panel was originally extremely terrifying, and now that he has transformed into the form of God Fire Destroyer, it has a full 500% bonus to his magical flames. This breath goes away. This huge cottage castle was also burned to ashes in an instant. The surrounding area was engulfed in a sea of fire. To this, if Qin Fan had not taken Su Ru with him, Su Ru would have been buried in the sea of fire along with the Goblin King. Gawu. After hearing the benefits promised to him by his master, the Snat guy finally didn't mind. Call. The huge dragon wings stretched out instantly, and suddenly flapped. Boom. A terrible tornado storm swept across the ground, blowing the surrounding sea of fire even more fiercely. Wow. Almost instantly, Xiaozhou had already taken Qin Fan and Su Ru into the air and soared into the sky. Looking down at this vast rainforest world from a high altitude, Su Ru's heart was beating wildly, and she was so nervous that she had to hug Qin Fan tightly for fear of falling. A pair of jewel-like eyes shone with splendor, and Qin Fan's reassuring aura came from the tip of her nose. Coupled with Yufeng Lingkong, Su Ru fell into an extremely comfortable ethereal state. Boom. But Xiaozhou didn't want this girl to stay behind his back for a long time. After leaping out of the rolling sea of fire, he found an open space and landed instantly. Gakao. Xiaozhou angrily urged Su Ru to get down quickly. If the owner hadn't bribed it with delicious food, it wouldn't have fallen in love with this human being. Qin Fan also quickly took Su Ru down. At the same time, buzz. A beam of light suddenly fell from the sky, completely covering the two of them. It seems that rewards for completing the level are about to be distributed. Now let alone the Goblin King, even the goblin villages were burning and spreading under the breath of Xiaozhou. The divine fire of the blazing holy dragon is naturally not an ordinary flame. It not only contains huge destructive power, but also causes great burning damage to the target's spirit. A level 7 dragon pet, one breath of dragon can directly clear the level 15 silver level secret realm of hell difficulty. It's so exaggerated. It's just so unreasonable. That's how invincible. The dragon controller with a dragon is already the strongest profession, bar none. Su Ru on the side looked at the sea of fire still burning in the distance, her pretty face moved. A breath of dragon breath is comparable to a natural disaster. As the daughter of the richest man in Anning City, Su Ru has seen many powerful mages since she was a child. Even several of the worshippers in his own family are second-turn Dharma kings with levels as high as level 45. She had personally seen these second-turn Dharma kings take action against their enemies. At that time, she was still shocked by the power of the second-turn Dharma kings. But now seeing Qin Fan's dragon pet clearing the secret realm in one breath, Su Ru only felt. The gap between humans and dragons is really huge. The key is that this blazing sacred dragon is still a cub. There is no justice. Qin Fan did not feel the same emotion as Su Ru. Because the secret rewards have been dropped. A mission information panel appeared in front of Qin Fan and Su Ru. Congratulations on successfully clearing the secret realm of Goblin Village. Duration of clearance: 7 minutes and 21 seconds. Rating: SSS level. Start distributing rewards now. Congratulations on getting 5,000 experience points. Congratulations on winning the title of Goblin Slayer. Congratulations on getting 30 free attribute points and 30 skill points. Bang! At the end, a silver treasure box shining with silver light fell in front of Qin Fan. This made Qin Fan realize that the above experience, title, and attribute point rewards can be obtained by everyone in the team. And this silver treasure chest is the real rich reward. This is actually the disadvantage of forming a team. The experience and attribute point rewards after clearing the level will be evenly distributed to everyone. Take this customs clearance as an example. Qin Fan gained 5,000 experience points, and Su Ru should also have gained 5,000 experience points. The total experience points for clearing the level were 1W. If Zhou Shuenkin's group of trash is still here, then the 1W experience points will be divided into 8 parts. Each person can get more than 1,000 experience points at most. Therefore, if you can clear the secret realm alone, it is best to do it alone, otherwise teammates will share the rewards. Click. Qin Fan opened the shining silver treasure chest without any hesitation. Buzz. Then several items fell out. The detailed information of these items also appeared in front of Qin Fan and Su Ru. Item 1. Priest Profession C-Level Skill Book, Guardian of Holy Light, ×1. Item 2. Silver Ring, Buff Ring, ×1. Item 3. 2 Real Scroll of Life Occupation ×1. Item 4. C-Level Material, Heart of the Goblin King, ×1. Item 5. Silver Weapon, Goblin King's Great Sword, ×1. Item 6. Goblin King, Enchantment Card ×1. No wonder adventurers regard wild secrets as precious opportunities. Emotions are so rewarding. In this world context where resources are monopolized in the hands of major universities, organizations, and wealthy families, it is difficult for most civilian career changers to get ahead. At the same time, resources have become extremely precious. Even a D-level skill book can fetch tens of millions of dragon coins in the market. Sometimes it can even break through to a price of more than 100 million. What's more, it's a C-level skill book. A silver ring and a silver weapon are worth at least 30 million dragon coins in the market. Compared with the price of the above items, the Life and Career 2 Real Scroll is much cheaper, but it still costs about 5 million. In addition, there are also C-level materials and Goblin King's enchantment cards. This thing is worth tens of millions. In other words, this is a silver-level copy of the Wild Secret Realm. The income is at least 2 to 3 billion dragon coins. This is money that nearly 99% of families will not be able to earn in their lifetime. Chin Fan, who was poor in both his previous life and this life, subconsciously began to breathe quickly. As the eldest lady of a wealthy family, Su Ru was also slightly moved. Anning City is a small 4th and 5th tier city. As the richest man in her family's company has a market value of 30 to 40 billion yuan. It does seem like a lot, but it was through the efforts of her ancestors from generation to generation that she achieved her current wealth. But now, just by clearing a wild secret realm, you can get a reward worth hundreds of millions. If she could encounter a few more wild resource secrets, wouldn't it easily exceed her family's wealth? When both of them were sighing, only Xiaoju, who had transformed into a little lizard again, looked at these rewards with disdain. It is a noble blazing holy dragon. A drop of its essence dragon blood is a rare thing that cannot be measured by money. Naturally, I don't want to pay attention to these small rewards in front of me. Compared with these rewards, the little dragon cub hopes to go home quickly and let the owner prepare delicious food for it. Chin Fan, I hardly contributed much to the attack on the secret realm this time. It was all solved by you and your dragon pet. So regarding the rewards, you can take them all and I have no objection. Su Ru said softly. She was very confident. The rewards before you were indeed generous. But she wasn't qualified to get it. Because it was Chin Fan who took her throughout the whole journey in the secret realm, it would not be an exaggeration to say that she was a drag. Therefore, she is very self-aware and has no intention of receiving these rewards. The priest skill book and the magic ring belong to you, and the rest belong to me. Chin Fan also directly distributed the rewards. Su Ru was a little stunned after hearing this. C-level skill books and buff rings should be the most expensive of all rewards. But Chin Fan assigned it to him like this, and Su Ru was ashamed. Take it as long as it's given to you. Besides, you don't get these things for free. You also need to pay a price. Chin Fan said calmly. What price? Su Ru asked cautiously. As if she had thought of something, her pretty little face suddenly turned bright red. This guy, could it be that he wanted her to commit himself to him? It turns out, she thinks too much. Chin Fan just said calmly. I only want you to do 2 things. First, keep the matter of my contract with the dragon pet secret. Even the people closest to you can't tell it until the end of my college entrance examination. Second, transfer 30 million to my bank card. This must also be done secretly. I believe it should not be difficult to do it as the eldest lady of the Su family. If you agree to the above 2 conditions, this skill book and ring will be given to you. Chin Fan said calmly. The reason why he did this was actually because once the skill book and ring were in his hands, he could only sell them. It will also be more troublesome and easy to attract attention. It's better to give it to Su Ru, which can be regarded as a smooth favor. After all, the Su family's size in Anning City is not small. Before Chin Fan has fully grown up, he still needs to manage other relationships as much as possible. Besides, During this period of time together, Chin Fan found that Su-ru had a pretty good character. Neither arrogant or domineering, nor bossy. Then it would be nice to be friends with her. Okay, these two conditions are no problem, I promise to do it. Su-ru nodded solemnly. When Chin Fan saw this, he threw the skill book and ring to her without any hesitation. Then he put the remaining things into his own, built-in space. Bite. And at this moment, the system's beep finally sounded. Congratulations to the host for completing all random tasks. Start distributing mission rewards now. Congratulations on getting the Lifestyle Career 2 Roll Scroll, ×1. Congratulations on getting the 5W Experience Pill shared with Dragon Pets ×1. Now it has been distributed to the system warehouse, please check it yourself. Not bad, especially the 2 Real Scroll for life-related professions, this is a good thing. Chin Fan now has 2 scrolls in his hand, one for his own use and one for direct sale. Of course, the most precious thing is this 5W Experience Pill. In this context where experience resources are extremely scarce, experience pills have become the most scarce resource. Those 3,000 and 5,000 experience pills on the market have been completely monopolized and cannot be purchased at all. This is something that only wealthy families can buy. As for the 5W experience pill, it is even more rare among the rare, you can't buy it even if you spend money. At least currently, there is no output at all in dungeon secret realms below level 50. The most important thing is the experience pill rewarded by the system. After Chin Fan eats it, his dragon pet can also share it. Okay, it's time to leave this stuffy and hot place. Finish counting the rewards. Chin Fan also relaxed instantly. Gakao. At this time, Xiaoju had once again transformed into the size of a cat, flapped its wings, and landed on Chin Fan's shoulder. The little dragon cub's meaning was very straightforward. I'm hungry, so I'll make delicious food quickly. Okay, I'll do it for you as soon as I get out. Chin Fan also looked doting on this little baby. You can actually connect with your dragon pet? Su-ru asked in surprise. What you're asking is nonsense. Can't all animal masters communicate with their pets? Chin Fan said helplessly. Okay, I am ignorant. Su-ru looked embarrassed. Soon, Chin Fan held Xiao Dimple in his arms and left the burning secret realm with Su-ru. Buzz. After the short-term dizziness caused by space teleportation disappears, Chin Fan finally returned to the entrance to the secret realm in the real world. Only, what made Chin Fan frown was that Zhou Shuenken and the others were still waiting at the entrance. Xiaoro, are you okay? Zhou Shuenken was slightly surprised when he saw that Chin Fan and Su-ru were able to escape the secret realm safely, and then he approached Su-ru with a concerned expression on his face. The remaining 3 boys also came closer. I'm fine, thank you for your concern. Su-ru said coldly, not to mention that Su-ru had not had a good impression of Zhou Shuenken before. Now I saw that Zhou Shuenken turned around and ran away without caring about his teammates. Su-ru knew even more that this Zhou Shuenken was a complete waste. If you team up with such a person to play a dungeon, it is almost equivalent to certain death. Facing Su-ru's cold attitude, Zhou Shuenken could only smile awkwardly. I hope you're all fine. I thought you two couldn't escape. Ha, who said we escaped? However, Su-ru sneered and looked at Zhou Shuenken with a sarcastic look. Can't Chin Fan and I come out after clearing the customs? Everyone, clear the level. They actually cleared the level. How is that possible? That giant goblin is completely beyond the ability of students of their level to deal with. No need to talk nonsense with them, let's go. Chin Fan said calmly. Su-ru nodded lightly, but just when they were about to turn around and leave. Suddenly, wait, the boy who dyed his hair red and was a swordsman shouted out. Chin Fan just turned around and looked at him indifferently. Don't know why. When he looked into Chin Fan's cold and indifferent eyes, Hongmao felt waves of heart palpitations. But thinking that Zhou Shuenken and his friends were by his side. So he boldly said, now that you have passed the level, shouldn't it be time to share the rewards? After all, we are also partners in the same team. If it is true as Su-ru said, these 2 people have passed the level. The rewards you will receive are definitely very generous. After all, this is a silver level secret realm dungeon of hell difficulty. But that's all. It almost made Qin Fan and Su Ru laugh angrily. Why do they have such faces? He ran away without caring about the safety of his teammates. As a result, I turned around and found that my teammates had cleared the level, so I came over licking my face and said I wanted to divide the rewards. Is this really something a human being can say? Forget it, I'm too lazy to argue with you trash, Su Ru, let's go. Qin Fan shook his head, feeling that it was a waste of his time to argue with these self-righteous trash. Su Ru also nodded angrily. She had never seen such a shameless person. I told you to stop. When Hongmeo's angry voice sounded. Wow, along with it, there was a sharp sword energy that pierced Qin Fan's back. Wind slash. This red-haired man actually dared to draw his sword against Qin Fan. This made Qin Fan, who originally had no intention of arguing with them, his eyes instantly turned cold. This sword, if it really hits, at least half of Qin Fan's life will be lost. Although, Wind Slash is only a D-level skill, it is one of the killing moves of the low-level swordsman profession. After hitting the enemy, the sword energy penetrates into the enemy's body like a strong wind, destroying the muscles and internal organs in the enemy's body. If you use skill points to strengthen it to 100%, then this violent sword energy will become even more fierce. Needless to say, this red-haired man must have wanted to kill Qin Fan when he used this move at a critical moment. Su Ru on the side felt the sharp sword energy attacking Qin Fan. Her pretty face also changed color instantly. She never expected that this red-haired man would dare to make a surprise attack. Just when she was about to shout the word, "Be careful," Qin Fan's reaction was even faster. Clang! A sword roar. It only took Qin Fan 0.01 seconds to draw the Xuanjing Earth Scale sword. Then he suddenly waved behind him. Bite! The Xuanjing Earth Scale sword collided with this extremely sharp sword energy, and dazzling sparks bloomed instantly. Snort! Qin Fan snorted coldly and twisted his wrist again. Wow! This sharp sword energy was so abruptly neutralized by him. Everyone around him was shocked. You must know that the red hair's level is a full 17. 2 levels higher than Su Ru. Because this red-haired man is the guard of Zhou Shuenken's family, he looks quite young, but he is actually in his 20s, almost 30 years old. Being older does not mean he is strong. But his combat experience is definitely more sophisticated than that of Zhou Shuenken and others. He deliberately picked the moment when the opponent's vigilance was weakest and struck instantly. And the first move is the powerful D-level skill, Wind Slash. The result is that the other party still reacts. And it was extremely easy to completely neutralize the violent sword energy. The key is that the opponent doesn't seem to have used any skills. He just uses the strength attribute to crush them. A moment. The red-haired man's face turned a little pale. Because Qin Fan just stared at him with murderous intent. Excuse me, what does this mean? Are you trying to stab me? Qin Fan's cold words made Zhou Shuenken and others' expressions suddenly change. A terrifying killing intent burst out from Qin Fan's body, causing Zhou Shuenken and others to breathe quickly. When did this trash become so powerful? Why am I trying to stab you? I'm just fighting for my own interests. You got rewards for clearing the level. We are in the same team and can't share any rewards. Isn't this reasonable? Hongmao made an extremely stiff argument. Didn't you cowards escape from the secret realm on your own? Have you ever contributed to the attack on the elite monsters and boss? What, you just want to sit and eat for free? Qin Fan sneered again and again. Okay, no more words. Qin Fan, have always been a principled person. Since you, a red-haired fool, stabbed me with a sword, it is my duty to return the sword to you. The moment Qin Fan's cold words fell. Wow! Zhou Shuenken and others were horrified to see that the figure of the Dragon Master disappeared directly from the place. Quick! So fast! Why is this person so fast? Danger! As a swordsman, he relied on his profession's natural perception talent to sense the strong smell of danger. Later, he turned around and swung his sword without any hesitation. However, wow! His sword energy was waving in the air, miss. Not at the back. Ni Shang, to your left. At this time, an urgent reminder came from Zhou Shuenken. The red-haired man named Ni Shang turned around without any hesitation. However, it's still too late. Wow! A sharp white light flashed up. Wow! An arm was raised high, with blood spurting out. Ah! Then came the pitiful cry of the red-haired man. Hiss! When everyone onlookers saw this scene, they couldn't help but gasp. Because the red-haired left arm had been cut off without mercy by Chin Fan. Not only that, the raging sword energy remaining on it shattered the broken arm into pieces. Quiet, deathly silence, except for the red hair who was still rolling on the ground and whining. Su Ru, Zhou Shuenken and others looked at this scene in stunned disbelief. Su Ru didn't expect Chin Fan to be so decisive in killing. Zhou Shuenken didn't expect that Chin Fan could destroy his family's best guard with just one sword strike. Tell me, was it your own idea to attack me just now, or was it Zhou Shuenken's idea? A sword cut off his arm, and Chin Fan's handsome face showed no tension or fluctuation. It was as if this kind of thing had no impact on him at all. The red-haired man, whose face was full of tears, hesitated, wanting to say something but not daring to say it. You won't say it, right? Then you just die. Chin Fan raised the Zanjing Earth Scale sword high and was about to swing it down at Hong Mao's neck. I said. At this critical moment, Hong Mao finally couldn't help but loudly begged for mercy. And the tip of the Xuanjing Earth Scale sword finally hovered less than a centimeter away from his neck. Hong Mao looked at this scene with horror on his face. He knew that if he didn't say anything, this guy would really kill him. And, why is this kid so powerful? Didn't I say that the Dragon Master is a useless profession without a dragon? How could it become like this? And he doesn't have a dragon with him either. I only give you 2 seconds. If you don't say anything, I will pierce your throat with my sword and let you keep this secret in the underworld. Chin Fan said coldly. It was Zhou Shuenken who asked me to do it. That's him. Don't kill me. If you want to kill me, kill him. When Hong Mao finished speaking, you fart. Zhou Shuenken jumped up in fear. He never dreamed that one day he would be afraid of a commoner. Chin Fan turned around calmly, holding the Zanjing Earth Scale sword in his hand, and walked towards Zhou Shuenken step by step. Chin Fan at this moment, like a killing god, his expression was neither happy nor sad, and he just walked towards Zhou Shuenken with his sword in hand. Chin Fan, you can't kill this person. Su Ru suddenly said softly. Why? Chin Fan looked at her. He is the legitimate son of the Zhou family in Anning City. He also has an older brother studying at a key combat academy. Chin Fan understood the meaning of Su Ru's words instantly. She was not begging for Zhou Shuenken, but he was telling Chin Fan. Zhou Shuenken's family background is not simple. The key is that his brother is destined to be a figure in the future. After all, you can be close to the key combat schools, and in the end, those who graduate will basically be big bosses. Zhou Shuenken, who was covered in cold sweat, breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Chin Fan finally stopped. He must be afraid of my background and my brother. Ha ha, even if you, Suddenly, Zhou Shuenken, who was about to laugh out loud, opened his eyes wide, and his expression became horrified. Because, wow, the light of the sword and the shadow of the sword. The next moment, a head flying high with bloodstains was thrown up. Thump! Zhou Shuenken, who had become a headless corpse, also fell straight down on the grass under the extremely horrified eyes of everyone around him. Wow! Everyone was shocked beyond measure. Kill! This Chin Fan actually killed Zhou Shuenken. The scene in front of them completely shocked everyone. No one expected that Chin Fan would actually dare to kill Zhou Shuenken directly. Su Ru's pretty face was also shocked. It's not that Chin Fan is cruel. On the contrary, this Zhou Shuenken was actually extremely annoying to her. In recent years, Zhou Shuenken has relied on his family background to be arrogant and domineering in Anning City, doing all kinds of evil. He is an extremely famous dandy. His death would not even arouse any pity in her heart. She's just worried. After all, Zhou Shuenken is the legitimate son of the Zhou family. The Zhou family is only slightly weaker than the Su family. But Chin Fan's background is far inferior to that of the Zhou family. If the Zhou family knew what Chin Fan had done, it would undoubtedly be devastating to Chin Fan. Chin Fan, do you know what you did? I tell you, you are dead. How dare you kill the second young master of the Zhou family? If the Zhou family knows about this, you and your shabby orphanage will be finished. The two boys on the side immediately stared at Chin Fan in horror. These two boys were classmates with Zhou Shuenken. Zhou Shuenken is also Zhou Shuenken's lackey on weekdays. Now that they saw Zhou Shuenken being killed, they were extremely frightened and at the same time filled with unparalleled anger. Indeed, if the Zhou family knows, then I will definitely have to finish it. However, faced with the intimidation of these two scoundrels, Chin Fan did not panic at all, but nodded with a look of astonishment on his face. Immediately afterwards, his next words made the red-haired man and the two losers turn pale in an instant. If that's the case, then if I kill all three of you, won't the Zhou family know about it? As soon as the words fell, I didn't even wait for any reaction from the red-haired and two fools in front of me. Wow, there was actually another clean sword light emerging. These three people didn't even have time to scream, their heads flew high, and along with them, bright red blood surged up like a fountain. Just 2 swords. 4 people were killed in an instant. Among them, there is Zhou Shuenken, the second young master of the Zhou family. Su Ru's pretty face on the side looked at this decisive and killing figure blankly, and she was suddenly shocked by the cold murderous intention on her body. She never expected that the character who was usually like a transparent person in the class would become so frightening after he became ruthless. Su Ru, can I believe you? At this time, Chin Fan did not turn around, but his extremely cold words came faintly. This made Su Ru's delicate body couldn't help but tremble. This was frightened, but the strange thing is, it was clear that Chin Fan was so ruthless and could even kill her, but she didn't feel the slightest fear in her heart at this moment. On the contrary, he even had a slight admiration for Chin Fan. She did not answer Chin Fan's words. Clang, she directly took out the staff in her hand, twisted her hands, and pulled out a sharp sword blade from the staff. Sword in the stick. This scepter turns out to be a sword within a stick. The so-called sword in the staff is actually a composite weapon that can be used as a staff or a long sword. This kind of weapon is still in high demand on the market, and its price is much more expensive than ordinary weapons. The reason why it is expensive is naturally that one weapon can be used by 2 professions. In certain emergencies, such as if someone in the team loses his weapon, this composite weapon can come in handy. When Su Ru drew out the sword from the staff, there was no attack on Chin Fan. Instead, he came to Zhou Shuenken's body and raised the sword in his hand. Swish swish swish, 3 sword lights went down. Zhou Shuenken's headless corpse was whipped again and cut into several sections, which was very miserable. From now on, I am also your accomplice, Su Ru said with a smile. When Chin Fan saw this, his murderous intention was completely wiped out. A man of 2 generations, in today's cruel world, Chin Fan has long abandoned the so-called kindness. In this world, good people will really be bullied. Only if you are strong enough and vicious enough, others will not dare to provoke you. A pleasure to work with. Chin Fan smiled and stretched out his hand. Su Ru smiled slightly and stretched out her soft, boneless hand to hold it. Actually, I should thank you. You have taught me 2 lessons, Su Ru said softly. And there are 2 compulsory courses. The first lesson was to teach her not to trust so-called acquaintances, and that no matter what happens in the future, she must leave a way out for herself. The second lesson was to teach her that she must be decisive in killing. Chin Fan may have already had murderous intentions towards Zhou Shuenken when he showed his murderous intentions towards him. Su Ru even believed that if Zhou Shuenken did not choose to escape, but continued to stay in the secret realm, then Chin Fan would definitely find an opportunity to kill Zhou Shuenken in a very reasonable way. What to do with these bodies? Su Ru asked. Small wine. Chin Fan called out. Gakao. The cute little wine emerged from Chin Fan's arms, flapped its wings, and flew to the 3 corpses. Call. A mouthful of blazing flames is spit out. The 3 corpses were instantly turned into ashes under the terrifying high temperature, as if they had never been in this world. Hold head high. After burning the body, Xiaoju approached Chin Fan again and let out a long coquettish sound. It means hurry up and make delicious food for it, it is hungry. Okay, let's go hunt the magic antelope and the one-horned rabbit now. We'll go home after you've had a good meal, Chin Fan said with a smile. At the beginning, I thought I would go out for about 10 days, successfully tame the dragon egg, and then go home. But then the system kept releasing tasks, forcing Chin Fan to stay here for more than half a month. Fortunately, Chin Fan had already left notes for the grandmother and children at the orphanage. I made an excuse, saying that I was going to a rich classmate's house to concentrate on training in seclusion for a period of time to prepare for the upcoming college entrance examination for job transfer. Grandma shouldn't be worried. After all, in the current context, everyone knows the importance of the college entrance examination for job transfer. Whether a job transferee can make a complete comeback depends on whether he can make a splash in the job transfer college entrance examination. As the most important exam in the Dragon Kingdom, it can be said that it attracts the attention of the whole country. At that time, various big shots will come to supervise the exam and supervise the battle. The geniuses of each province are also fully prepared. The intensity of the competition is no less than that of thousands of troops crossing a single plank bridge. But now that Chin Fan has the system in hand and Xiaoju by his side, he is no longer afraid of any so-called genius. In the following time, Chin Fan was not in a hurry to send Su Ru back. Instead, he stayed in the Yulin Mountains for a few more days. While killing as many monsters as possible, he also killed a lot of monsters with tender meat that was suitable for eating. Chin Fan has already used a life occupation 2-turn scroll. From an ordinary chef career, he became a Lingyi chef. The meals cooked by ordinary chefs are much more delicious than those of ordinary people. As for the Lingyi chef, after the second turn, not only the food is more delicious than the chef's, but it also comes with certain buffs. For example, the same dish, braised pork. When ordinary chefs make it, there are only 2 words, delicious. But the Lingyi chef makes it, which is not only delicious, but also allows the user to increase their strength by 20 points and restore a certain amount of blood and physical strength within a certain period of time. Don't underestimate this power. If Chef Lingyi cooks you a Manchu Han banquet, all your attributes will increase a lot after eating it. The combat power increases by at least 10%. This is why the 2 real-life reels are worth millions of dragon coins. As long as you successfully transfer for the second time, you can join some adventure guilds and job transfer organizations to work. The wages and benefits obtained will also be greater. Many ordinary people who cannot switch to combat professions are counting on this second revolution scroll to change their destiny. It's just a pity that the output of these 2 real reels is relatively small, so it is difficult to buy them. To put it bluntly, rich people cannot use these 2 real scrolls, but ordinary people want to use them but have no money to buy them. Originally, Chin Fan planned to sell both copies for money. But when I think about the fact that I have to take care of this picky little dragon cub in the future, my cooking skills must be improved and I can't stand still. It turns out, this is a very good decision. Chin Fan, who was connected to the little dragon cub, could feel the happiness and joy every time the little one ate. Even Su Ru was full of praise for Chin Fan's cooking skills. My family's chefs actually have 2 Lingyi chefs who cook Western food and Chinese food respectively, but I don't think the food they cook is as delicious as yours. Obviously your conditions are still in the wild. Su Ru sighed. If it tastes good, eat more. Chin Fan regarded Su Ru as a friend. Mainly because this girl has good character. Now, after Chin Fan took the 5W experience pill, his own level has been raised to level 18. Xiaoju also successfully entered level 10 today, and the final stage of the novice mission was completely completed. The 2S level skills rewarded by the system are passive. They are Fire Affinity S. The fire damage you receive is reduced by 80%. Dragon Fighting in the Wild S. When you enter combat with your dragon pet, your combat effectiveness will increase over time, up to 70% of your combat effectiveness. The Fire Affinity should be inherited from Xiaoju's Fire Immunity. I have to say, these 2 passive attributes are very strong. Especially, Dragon Fights in the Wild. This literally makes him take off. In addition, the detailed attributes of Chin Fan and Dragon Pet have also undergone shocking changes. Name: Chin Fan. Age: 18 years old. Level: Level 18. Occupation: Dragon Controller. Talents: Affinity with Beasts SSS, Culinary Proficiency E+. Strength: 400, Wisdom: 400, Physique: 360, Agility: 370. Professional skills: Dragon Control S, Bloodline Fusion SSS, Mark of Hatred B, Dragon Madness B, Dragon Claw Assault B, Fire Dragon Bullet B. Dragon Pet. Blazing Holy Dragon, Endless Fire Lord. Name: Yingju. Nickname: Xiaoju. Gender: female. Age: under 1 month old. Level: level 10. 4-dimensional attributes: Strength 1200, Wisdom 1200, Physique 1100, Agility 1100 without any buff, equipment, or props. Blessing. Skills possessed: 1 Fire Saving Throw S passive skill. As an Endless Fire Master, you can be immune to 100% fire damage. 2 Breath of Fire S active skill. Spitting Flame Dragon Breath forward, causing huge fire damage to all enemies in front of a certain range. 3 Divine Fire Scale Armor S passive skill. The Dragon Scale is the strongest armor. When blocked by the Dragon Scale, the power of all attacks is reduced by 70%. 4 Flame Claw of Destruction A active skill. The Dragon Claw burns with blazing flames, and swings forward fiercely, causing damage to all enemies within a fan-shaped range in front of it. 5 Dragon Transformation S active skill. You can freely switch between 4 forms. Fear: it's simply terrifying. Needless to say, Qin Fan. Just a drink. The attributes of this little dragon cub all exceeded the 1,000 mark. This is simply too exaggerated. At the moment. Not far away, an amethyst demonic tiger with a level of 25 and being the boss of the nearby area was turned into a puddle of flesh under Xiaoju's careless slap. He only had time to let out a scream. Mud. Su Ru was even more stunned. This is a level 25 wild boss. That is several levels stronger than the Goblin King. As a result, in front of Xiaoju, he was still slapped to death. All I can say is that he is worthy of being the Blazing Holy Dragon. At the same time, Su Ru also became more determined to win over Qin Fan. Qin Fan's future potential is absolutely huge. In fact, she, the so-called eldest lady of the Su family, might not even be worthy enough to carry shoes in front of Qin Fan. Because she knows that as long as Qin Fan can grow up in the future, he will definitely become a top boss. It's the kind of terrifying existence that can cause the entire profession-changing world to tremble 3 times if you stomp your feet. By that time, not to mention the small Su family in Anning City. Even the top wealthy families in Fengshan province still have to bow their heads in front of Qin Fan. Think of this, Su Ru has made up her mind to get closer to Qin Fan in the future. Also, whichever school Qin Fan goes to, she will go with him. Try your best to capture his heart. Although she only has a supporting job, in terms of figure and appearance, as a school beauty, she thinks she is no worse than other girls. When the time comes, you can figure out what type of girl this boy likes, and then you can fall in love with her. Thinking of this, her pretty face became inexplicably rosy. She naturally has a deep affection for Qin Fan. Not only did he save her life, but his indifferent and handsome appearance deeply touched her heart. As a daughter of a wealthy family, Su Ru was actually ready to sacrifice for the marriage. Several of her sisters were married to young men from wealthy families in other provinces. She should be no exception. But now, after meeting Qin Fan, she would definitely fight for him. Okay, it's time to go back. The college entrance examination will be in a few days. Qin Fan clapped his hands and said calmly, Qin Fan, do you need to form a team for the college entrance examination when you change jobs? Su Ru looked at him with bright eyes. But at the same time, I was also full of anxiety. Because she knew that Qin Fan, who had successfully contracted as a dragon pet, would definitely target the 3 top universities in the Dragon Kingdom. Other top 20 key universities will not enter Qin Fan's eyes. But if you want to enter the 3 top universities, your results in the professional transfer college entrance examination must be among the top 100 at the provincial level. Single brushing is the way to get the highest score. If you form a team, your teammates will drag down your rating to some extent. Chapter 31. The reason why Su Ru asked this. Naturally, he wanted to team up with Qin Fan and attack the secret realm dungeon in the college entrance examination together. As a priest, most of her skills are auxiliary skills. There are very few active attack skills. It's not that you can't do it alone, but it's extremely time-consuming and inefficient to do it alone. In the end, her results alone may not be as good as those achieved by teaming up with others. After witnessing Qin Fan's strength and the sense of security he gave her, Su Ru undoubtedly wanted to ask Qin Fan to take her with him. If other students in the number 1 middle school were to see the dignified little princess of the Su family praying to form a team with Qin Fan, the Dragon Master, their jaws would probably drop. After all, Su Ru was famous in No. 1 middle school, and many top students dreamed of teaming up with Bai Fumei. It is said that among so many people, there are still geniuses from top private schools. For example, Tian Jinming also changed his profession to the hidden professional Holy Spirit Mage. Glory Knight Hu Yibo, Punishment Shooter Shang Shuang. These three are all the top 3 in the rocket class at the aristocratic private school in Anning City. They originally wanted to choose a single pass in the college entrance examination for job transfer. But in order to win the beauty's heart, he was willing to invite Su Ru to form a team. And, for them, maybe teaming up with Su Ru, who is a priest, will achieve better results. Because this year's Nanzhou Province College entrance examination questions were drawn up personally by the King of Hell, Zhang Shaozhen. The difficulty is naturally self-evident. At that time, many geniuses may not be able to defeat them alone. Therefore, in order to be on the safe side, as long as you can enter the provincial top 500, you will definitely be able to enter the threshold of key universities. As for those 3 legendary top schools, even these talented people dare not think about it. Because if you want to enter these 3 legendary top schools, you must at least be in the top 100 at the provincial level to have a chance. At the moment, Su Ru blinked her long autumn eyes and looked at Qin Fan. It can be seen from her eyes that she really wants to team up with Qin Fan. After hearing this, Qin Fan thought for a while and said, "It's not impossible to form a team in the college entrance examination, but you have to listen to me in everything. You must do whatever I ask you to do and obey my orders unconditionally." If Tian Jinming, Hu Yibo and other talented people heard this, they might not be able to help but rush up and beat Qin Fan. They have been praying hard to form a team with Bai Fumei, who has both strength and beauty, but they have not been able to get their wish. As a result, Qin Fan made extremely overbearing demands on Su Ru. "Okay, as long as you can team up with me, I will do whatever you ask me to do." Su Ru smiled and narrowed her eyes. She knew that she had found a teammate who was more reliable than anyone else. After returning home, the Zhou family will ask questions. "You should know what to say, right?" Qin Fan said calmly. "Yeah, I know. Just say I've never met them." Su Ru nodded. "Okay, go home." Qin Fan finally ended his nearly month-long outdoor training trip and took Su Ru back to the Adventure Guild Hall. When the job changers from the Adventure Guild saw that Su Ru had returned with all her hair and tail, immediately stunned, the lady at the front desk asked Su Ru cautiously, "Miss Su, where are the 3 dragon brothers?" Su Ru showed a strange smile. "You guess." Hiss. The lady at the front desk suddenly took a breath of air. "Miss Su, are you?" She made a motion of wiping her neck. When Su Ru saw this, she didn't answer, but still smiled. "The 3 dragons are dead." He actually died, and their deaths are definitely related to Su Ru. Despite this, the lady at the front desk showed a comfortable smile at this moment. "Have a good death. Those 3 dragons always like to do some dirty things that backstab. Now that they are solved, that is what everyone wants to see." Qin Fan did not stand with Su Ru. He never wanted to attract attention. After handing over the task, Qin Fan went to the subway station and planned to take the subway back to the orphanage. When passing through the security check, a creature with a strange aura was detected in Qin Fan's arms. The security staff was not surprised at all and just asked Qin Fan to take out the creature and show it to her. After all, in this world where games and reality merge, World of Warcraft pets have become popular. Many families have smart and cute monster pets. "Hey!" A cute little red head came out of Qin Fan's collar and made a cute squeaking sound. "Wow, what a cute little lizard. You actually dressed it up like a dragon, it's so cute." The security lady took one look and suddenly showed a girlish expression. As expected, the security lady did not associate Xiaoju with the dragon clan at all. "At most, I just feel like I'm dressing up as a dragon." The dragons in this world are not only mysterious, but also powerful. Especially among the top echelons of the dragon clan, there are two races, the giant dragon and the holy dragon, and the divine dragon has never seen its end. Ordinary career changers may never see one in their lifetime. Furthermore, in the eyes of many people, the dragon clan has always been known for its majesty and fierceness. Xiaoju is so cute, it's hard to imagine that it is the legendary blazing holy dragon. Gakao. Hearing that this human actually compared it to an inferior creature like a lizard, Xiaoju immediately roared angrily. If Qin Fan hadn't quickly covered Xiaoju's mouth with quick eyes and hands, a mouthful of flames might have burst out. In this way, we got on the subway without any danger. However, Xiaoju, who had been suffocating for a long time, naturally poked his little head out of Qin Fan's collar, stared at a pair of smart golden dragon eyes, and curiously looked at the human world. But the consequences of doing so are, wow, what a cute little guy. Sisters, come on, there is an extremely cute little creature here. Help, how can it be so cute? Can I hug it? Quote. After seeing the cute and charming Xiaoju, the ladies in the subway immediately came over with loving eyes. A pair of jade hands came towards Xiaoju. Gakao. Xiaoju let out an angry roar again. It didn't want to be touched by humans other than its owner. In Xiaoju's eyes, the master's status is the highest. Then to its own place. All remaining creatures. It's all rubbish. If the owner hadn't restrained him from hurting people, he would have breathed out a dragon's breath and killed all the passengers in the subway train. I'm sorry, my little wine doesn't like others touching it. Girls, please restrain yourself. Qin Fan also said helplessly. It's also a worry if your pet dragon looks too cute. Although these young ladies are not allowed to touch Xiaoju. But it seems that women have a natural interest in cute things. Still sitting next to Qin Fan, he kept asking questions, and even wanted Qin Fan's contact information. This made Qin Fan smile bitterly. He never expected that he, who had no affinity with women, would one day become popular because of a drink. Got off the subway, Qin Fan went directly to the nearby job transfer market. The so-called job change market is actually a place where job changers can sell and buy materials. There are also small exchange stalls here. When Qin Fan came to this market, he found that it was basically ordinary job changers. The highest level is only 18. Same as myself. Moreover, their auras are mediocre, and they should be ordinary career changers living at the bottom. But even so, ordinary job changers, as long as they change jobs to combat professions, will earn much more than ordinary office workers. Go to the wild and kill some monsters, and the fur you peel off can be sold at a good price. Of course, ordinary office workers only have to face the pressure of work. But those who change jobs need to face the extreme danger of being killed anytime and anywhere. The market is divided into two halves. Area A operates many large chain stores of materials, equipment, props, etc. Area B consists of retail stalls, where ordinary career changers set up stalls and sell the props and materials they obtained in the wild maps. There are many people in Area B. There are very few people in Area A. However, Area A is full of well-dressed people. Many wealthy people bring their partners and children to buy equipment, jewelry, elixirs, etc. The reason why Qin Fan came here was naturally to sell the Goblin King's heart, AC-level material, and the Goblin King's giant sword, a silver weapon. As for the Goblin King's enchantment card, this is a great item for sale. Its enchantment effect is, each time an attack hits an enemy, its own strength and attack speed will be increased by 1%, which can be stacked up to 10 times. This value is definitely more than 50 million dragon coins. Because this is something that is only produced in the wild secret realm. If you other rich people want to buy it, you have to see if it is available. After all, wild secrets are not something anyone can encounter if they want to. So Qin Fan was not in a hurry to sell it. If you go to Area B, no one will be able to buy what you are selling. You can only go to Area A. So Qin Fan walked towards Area A. Area A has been renovated into a very grand and high-end shopping plaza. Qin Fan, who was wearing ordinary clothes and walking here, seemed out of place with the tourists around him. But he didn't care. After seeing a shop called Shungbao Inn, I walked in. As soon as he entered, Qin Fan instantly felt that all the customers' eyes were on him. There is contempt, and disdain. There were also frowns and surprises. Most of them are unkind looks. Isn't this Chin Fan? Why are you here? Suddenly, a girl's voice came over. Chin Fan turned around and looked, only to find that it was his classmate, Zhang Dan. At this moment, Zhang Dan was wearing a dress that looked very valuable, holding the arm of a handsome boy and walking over. In response, Chin Fan just nodded as a greeting and said, "I'm just here to sell something." Selling something? Zhang Dan looked at Chin Fan and said narrowly, "You, a poor man from an orphanage, have something to sell. Are you here to steal things?" Hearing such harsh words, Chin Fan just shook his head slightly, too lazy to argue with such a mean woman. This Dan is a piece of shit in the class. She took her little sisters to fish for Casey all day long. When she found out which boy's family had money, she would strike up a conversation with him. According to some news that Chin Fan accidentally heard, it was said that Zhang Dan had more than a dozen boyfriends during his 3 years of job transfer and study. Moreover, the first few boyfriends were all manipulated by her, cheated of their money, and then abandoned them. Those boys who have been played by this scumbag want revenge. But Zhang Dan always finds a stronger boy as his boyfriend. The result this time was beyond Chin Fan's expectation. Because the tall and handsome boy in front of him is the famous genius in Anning City, Hu Yibo. This guy is often in the newspapers and is said to be the most suitable prince candidate for Su Ru. He even said that the position of city-level champion is likely to fall on his head. Anning City is a small city. Don't even think about competing for the provincial #1 prize, but many people think it will be Hu Yibo. But what Chin Fan didn't expect was that Hu Yibo would actually like someone like Zhang Dan. And, didn't he say that he wanted to pursue Su Ru? Why did you get together with Zhang Dan? That's all. None of this has anything to do with Chin Fan. He just came here to sell the materials. If there was a chance, it would be good to sell the giant sword. Now he is short of money. So he was too lazy to talk nonsense with Zhang Dan. Chin Fan turned around and walked towards the store. "How dare you ignore me?" Zhang Dan gritted his teeth instantly when he saw Chin Fan's attitude of not wanting to be beaten. But on the surface, he still pouted his little mouth and said to Hu Yibo coquettishly, "My dear, this kid actually dares to ignore me. Then let's go in and have a look," Hu Yibo said lightly. He was not so brainless as to get angry with just a few words from Zhang Dan. It's just that it's really boring now. Then follow along and see what this guy is selling. It would be funny to say that what is being sold is some garbage. When Chin Fan walked into the Shungbao Inn, a sweet-looking and elegant woman in the shop came out and asked very politely, "Sir, welcome. Do you want to buy something?" Chin Fan shook his head. "No, I want to sell something." "Okay, please take out what you want to sell. I'll take it for appraisal. We can discuss it after we determine the price. By the way, a gentle reminder, sir, our store does not accept materials worth less than 10,000 dragon coins." The woman's voice reminded gently. "Haha, Chin Fan, did you hear that? We don't accept anything worth less than 10,000 dragon coins here." Zhang Dan, who followed in, sneered. "Miss, sir, are you here to buy something?" To Zhang Dan and Hu Yibo, who suddenly came in, the woman also asked. "Honey." Zhang Dan blinked and looked at Hu Yibo. Hu Yibo frowned. No wonder Zhang Dan deliberately picked trouble with Chin Fan. The original purpose was to make him spend money. "That necklace over there, bought it, swipe your card." Hu Yibo naturally has to maintain his face outside. He took out his bank card and handed it to the customer service woman. "Okay sir, that necklace is worth 300,000 dragon coins. I'll give you a discount of 250,000 dragon coins." The customer service woman's attitude became more and more respectful. When Hu Yibo heard the price, his mouth twitched slightly. "So expensive. This is just a bronze necklace. It just looks good, but doesn't add many attributes. It turns out to be so expensive." Hu Yibo's family is rich, but the pocket money given to him by the family is not much. There are only 500,000 dragon coins a month. As soon as the results came out, half of this elixir was consumed. This idiot Zhang Dan is all his fault. In this resource-scarce context, even a bronze-level necklace is worth hundreds of thousands. Although the Dragon Kingdom implements the Double 10 compulsory education, the school can only provide black iron level novice equipment for free. Hu Yibo actually didn't want to buy such an expensive necklace for Zhang Dan. But boys are all face-loving. Zhang Dan seems to have grasped this point. If he opens his mouth, Hu Yibo will have to spend money for it. Qin Fan, have you seen it? Any necklace here is worth hundreds of thousands. It's better not to take out the rubbish you picked up casually on the wild map and make it look embarrassing. Zhang Dan was smiling, but his tone was extremely sarcastic. Speaking of why Zhang Dan targeted Qin Fan so. In fact, that's because Zhang Dan was a child in an orphanage before. At that time, Qin Fan had not yet been reincarnated. According to the memory of the original owner, Zhang Dan was extremely vain, and other children in the orphanage did not like her. Qin Fan also wanted Zhang Dan to change his character at that time, but Zhang Dan refused to change his character. What followed was that Zhang Dan was adopted. But Zhang Dan still holds a grudge against Qin Fan, probably because she feels that Qin Fan, as the king of children in the orphanage, is isolating her with his children. Not really. The kids just plain hate her. Ever since Qin Fan was reincarnated, Zhang Dan has been deliberately targeting Qin Fan. Qin Fan was too lazy to pay attention to her. I never thought that today, a rich man like Hu Yibo would step on me again by clinging to me. Qin Fan still ignored it. In his eyes, Zhang Dan is no different from a clown. At this time, the shopping guide also came over with a beautiful box and handed it to Zhang Dan. Miss, this is the necklace you want. Say it. Then he turned to Qin Fan and said softly, Sir, if you want to sell any materials, just take them out and I will appraise them for you right away. Qin Fan nodded. Then he asked, You should be able to get the money on the spot, right? As soon as these words came out. Haha, you look like you have never seen the world. How much is your scrap material worth? A store as big as this wouldn't be able to sell it. Zhang Dan started taunting again. The shopping guide also smiled and said, Sir, please don't worry, we all settle the material transactions on the spot. Qin Fan still ignored Zhang Dan, a fool, and nodded, Okay, then I'll feel relieved. This is the material I want to sell. Say it. Buzz. A burst of spatial fluctuations occurred. Then Hu Yibo and others were shocked to see. A heart that was still beating appeared in Qin Fan's hand. In particular, the heart contains a moving and majestic vitality, which made the shopping guide and Hu Yibo stunned on the spot. They really didn't expect Qin Fan to be able to come up with such a thing. Ouch, it's so disgusting. Are you selling this kind of thing? However, the short-sighted Zhang Dan showed a disgusted expression at this moment. Please take it for appraisal and see how much it's worth. Qin Fan said calmly. This kind of disregard from beginning to end made Zhang Dan extremely angry. This feeling is like a revengeful fist hitting the cotton, and it feels like you can't use your strength at all. She subconsciously wanted to go up and destroy the heart that made her feel sick. As a result, Hu Yibo grabbed her at this time. She looked back. He was instantly frightened by Hu Yibo's gloomy expression. You, shut up. Stop being a fool, Hu Yibo growled. This stupid fool actually wants to go up and destroy this material. This roar made Zhang Dan's originally arrogant expression instantly calm down. The shopping guide quickly took the heart and went to the appraisal room next to it for appraisal. She knew that this material was definitely not ordinary. Just the majestic vitality that is about to overflow is enough to be worth at least tens of millions. It is absolutely impossible for an ordinary monster's heart to still be beating after such a long time of death. Soon, the shopping guide hurriedly walked out of the appraisal room. That pretty face immediately put on the most respectful and sweet smile. If the smile in front of me is to deal with customers, it is somewhat perfunctory. But this time, her smile was sweet from the bottom of her heart. Because the material this young man brought turned out to be the heart of the Goblin King. OMG, this is top-grade material worth at least 30 million. You can't even buy it in Anning City. Dear guest, please come this way and I will serve you tea. Do you need any special services? This shopping guide is passionate. Zhang Dan also realized the change in the shopping guide's attitude. But she still couldn't believe it. Why could Qin Fan, who was also born in an orphanage, come up with such expensive materials? Beauty, how much are the materials he produced worth? Zhang Dan swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked cautiously. The heart of the Goblin King is worth at least 30 million. The shopping guide answered with a smile. Zhang Dan. Hu Yibo. Hiss. 30 million. This. Even a rich man like Hu Yibo couldn't help but change slightly when he heard this number. After all, his pocket money is only 500,000 dragon coins a month. The shopping guide was too lazy to pay attention to these two people. She turned around with a smile, her beautiful eyes constantly casting glances at Qin Fan. In fact, she didn't expect that this handsome young man with ordinary clothes and even an aura of poverty could come up with such expensive materials. 30 million dragon coins. For ordinary people, it is actually enough to spend a lifetime. Zhang Dan looked at Qin Fan with a complicated face and wanted to say something else. However, Hu Yibo turned around at this moment. Why stay here? Continue to be embarrassed. Upon seeing this, Zhang Dan quickly chased after him, but he turned back to look at Qin Fan every step of the way. Somehow, an inexplicable feeling of extreme regret arose in my heart. However, what she didn't know was that except for the exchange of glances when they first greeted each other, Qin Fan never looked at her once in the rest of the time. In Qin Fan's eyes, this Zhang Dan is actually an ant. If you argue with her, it will lower your level. Stop blinking at me, settle the cash immediately, I'll take the money and leave. Qin Fan said coldly. The shopping guide was already sitting next to him, almost leaning on him. When Qin Fan said this, she had no choice but to blush and stand up in embarrassment to submit the transaction application. After all, this is not a small amount. Looking at the panicked and embarrassed back of the shopping guide, Qin Fan actually sighed in his heart. Sure enough, no matter in the past life or in this life, for most ordinary people, money is always the ultimate pursuit. Soon, half an hour later, the owner of this chain store and the shopping guide bowed in farewell. Qin Fan took a bank card with a deposit of 30 million dragon coins and went home leisurely. Back at the orphanage, my mother breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Qin Fan came back safely, and still showed her usual gentle smile. Brother Qin Fan is back. I don't know which cub howled. Immediately afterwards, a dozen boys and girls ran out of the yard and jumped on Qin Fan. After playing with these children for a while, Qin Fan Kai and his mother returned to the living room. Grandma asked Qin Fan if he was hungry. Qin Fan smiled and said he was hungry. So Grandma walked into the kitchen. After a while, an alluring aroma of egg noodles wafted out of the kitchen. In this regard, Qin Fan only felt warm and warm. Grandma has always been like this. She won't be nagging or asking questions. She always treats each child with a gentle smile and leaves space for the children to keep their own secrets. Soon, a steaming bowl of egg noodles was brought to Qin Fan. Just when Qin Fan was about to start eating, Gawu. Suddenly, a cute little head poked out from Qin Fan's collar. Its pair of golden dragon eyes looked curiously at the bowl of egg noodles in front of it. When Grandma saw this scene, her eyes, which had always been smiling, suddenly widened. Xiaofan, what is this? She looked at the little guy curiously. And at this moment, this little guy also stared at his grandma with his big cute eyes. Mom, let me explain to you. With that said, Qin Fan let Xiaoju come out of his arms. When Grandma saw this little cat-sized wine taking on a dragon-like form, her expression became even more astonished. Although she is just a life occupation, but almost everyone knows the powerful legend about the dragon clan. Seeing Qin Fan bringing back such a little dragon cub before her eyes, one can imagine how shocked Grandma was at this moment. Mom, don't panic. Its name is Yingju, the firefly of fireflies, the wine of fine wine. Normally, just call it Xiaoju. As you can see, this is the legendary blazing holy dragon, the top existence among the dragon clan. Didn't I successfully change my profession before? And the profession I changed to is called Dragon Controller, which is a hidden profession. Qin Fan had nothing to hide from his mother. And in the college entrance examination for job transfer 2 days later, Xiaoju will inevitably make his debut in the public eye. Then everyone will know that he has a holy dragon. While Qin Fan was explaining to his mother, Xiaoju jumped onto the table. It connected with Qin Fan's heart and knew that the kind-hearted woman in front of him was his master's closest relative. So it didn't show any sign of grinning at Grandma. Instead, he moved closer to the egg noodles and smelled them. A look of joy appeared in his big golden eyes. Then the dragon opened its mouth and ate the bowl of egg noodles that should have belonged to Chin Fan in one bite. The scalding hot noodle soup not only didn't make Xiaoju scream, but actually made him squint his eyes in comfort. Then he jumped up again, running around the room like a naughty child, looking at everything around him curiously. Finally, I picked up some toys from the children in the orphanage and started playing with them. Seeing such a cute little dragon cub, Grandma's original fear of dragons disappeared instantly. Although I still couldn't believe the fact that Chin Fan brought back a little dragon cub. But the fact was before her eyes, and she had to accept it. By the way, Grandma, when my classmates and I were training, we also took a trip to the Yulin Mountains. We were lucky enough to pick up an E-grade medicinal plant and sold it for more than 100,000 dragon coins. I'll transfer the money to you later, Chin Fan said with a smile. He did not give all the tens of millions in his card to his grandmother. It's not that he is stingy and wants to keep it. But when such a huge amount of money was taken out all at once, the shock to my grandmother was absolutely unbearable. Rather than letting Grandma guess, it would be better to just keep it a secret. More than 100,000 dragon coins are enough to support the operation of the orphanage. When the money is insufficient, Chin Fan will just give it more. Sure enough, although more than 100,000 dragon coins is a huge amount of money for her, it is still within the acceptable range. However, Grandma still warned her a few times to be careful and to tell her first when going to a place like Yulin Mountains next time. No matter what, Grandma smiled more. Seeing his relative smiling more, Chin Fan finally let out a deep breath that he had been suppressing for a while. 7 years. It has been 7 years since he was reincarnated into this world that is completely integrated with the game. In the previous time, there was no golden finger, and his own awakening talent was only E+ level, culinary mastery. Didn't he worry about the future? Even though the system finally woke up, Chin Fan never dared to relax. After all, he knows that the tasks issued by the system will gradually become more difficult. God knows what punishment he will receive if he cannot complete it. But fortunately, it is now slowly getting on the right track. The college entrance examination for job transfer, he's here. At night, Chin Fan, who was lying on his little bed, stretched out his hand and clenched it into a fist, with an expression on his face full of passionate fighting spirit. But in the next second, puff, Chin Fan suddenly squirted out a mouthful of water, and when he looked closely, he saw that the naughty Xiaoju leapt forward and landed on his stomach. Although Xiaoju's size has shrunk to the size of a cat, its attributes have not been reduced due to the reduction in size. After such a jump, thanks to Chin Fan's SSS level passive of Bloodline Fusion, he inherited powerful 4-dimensional attributes and became much stronger physically. Otherwise, a normal person would be put off on the spot if Xiaoju pounced on him like this. Gawu. Xiaoju stepped on Chin Fan's belly, and a purring sound like a cat came from his throat. Then he just lay there, looking at Chin Fan's face with a pair of golden dragon eyes full of dependence and joy. Speaking of which, this little guy is just like me. They all exist without parents. This dragon egg was given to Chin Fan by the system as a novice gift package. I don't know if it was made by the system, or if it was stolen from the Dragon Clan Holy Land by using the plug-in ability. But no matter what, you are its only relative. Over the next 2 days, Chin Fan finally gave himself a short vacation. In the Yulin Mountains, the fighting is non-stop. Now that the college entrance examination for job transfer is approaching, proper relaxation will put you at your peak. When 2 days have passed, the morning of the 3rd day came. This small wireless city that was supposed to be peaceful was starting to get hot and boiling at this moment. The 3rd grade students got up early one by one, brought their own equipment and props, and walked toward Anning Square with excited but anxious faces. Peace Square. It is the only pilot program for this job transfer college entrance examination. All the 3rd grade candidates in Anning City and surrounding counties will come here today to take a big exam that can change their destiny. All the students who have worked hard for so many years, whether they can leap over the Dragon's Gate depends on today. In this world where games and reality merge, most resources are controlled by each country. Only a small part of the resources are in the hands of a few powerful organizations. For example, the Global Job Changers Guild, the International Combat United Association, etc. The reason why the job transfer college entrance examination is the most important exam in the life of every career changer is because as long as you can get a good score in the job transfer college entrance examination, you will be qualified to enter a key university. The resources controlled by the state are basically allocated to each university. Because universities are supposed to cultivate all kinds of talents for the country. Therefore, the country's resources must be poured into universities. In general education institutions account for 10% of the total national resources. Key universities account for 20% of the total national resources. Top universities account for 30% of the country's total resources. And the front line of the alien battlefield. It accounts for 40% of the total national resources. The front line of the alien demon battlefield is actually where the alien demon rift is located. With Chin Fan's current strength, he is not qualified to get access to all the information about the strange demon rift. But I have seen the information about these universities. According to statistics, there are a total of 80 ordinary combat schools in Dragon Kingdom today. There are 20 key combat schools. There are 3 top ace combat schools. That is to say, 80 ordinary combat schools share 10% of the resources. 20 key combat schools share 20% of the resources. 3 top combat schools share 30% of the resources. Looking at it this way, even a fool knows which school to choose. Sufficient resources mean that the comprehensive teaching staff is extremely strong, and when you go to this top ace university, you have more opportunities to become stronger. So, today, all the top students from all provinces in the Dragon Kingdom are targeting the top universities. Now, the grand and spacious Anning Square was already filled with people and it was boiling. Every job transfer student has a face full of excitement and apprehension. Most of the job transfer students have formed their own teams and get together in small groups. The exam questions for our Nanzhou province this year were written by the King of Hell, Zhang Shaozhen. They must be very difficult. Yes, originally, I was planning to do a normal difficulty Secret Realm dungeon alone, but now I have to form a team. I'm afraid even the normal difficulty Secret Realm dungeon will be difficult. Tell me, who will be the top pick in Anning City this year? Hu Yibo, right, after all, he is a hidden professional glorious knight. Not necessarily, Tian Jinming and Shang Shuang are also hidden professions. When you mentioned hidden professions, I remembered that there was also a dragon master in number 1 middle school. Harm, dragon controller, is a useless profession. He can't contract a dragon. Quote. Just when everyone was talking about it. Wow. Suddenly there was an uproar not far away. Everyone quickly turned around and saw that they were excited again. Isn't that Holy Spirit Mage Tian Jinming? He's quite handsome. I saw a figure walking out of the extended luxury car. He wore a snow-white robe and held an exquisite silver-white staff engraved with mysterious patterns. Handsome in appearance and elegant in temperament, he looks like a royal prince. He is none other than Holy Spirit Master Tian Jinming. At the same time, in the eyes of everyone, he is also one of the popular candidates who has the best chance of winning the municipal #1 prize. Many girls around him were already looking infatuated, looking at Tian Jinming who looked like a prince in a fairy tale. Wow, but at this moment, the crowd at the other entrance made another uproar. I saw the same 2 stretched luxury cars slowly approaching. Hu Yibo, the glorious knight who was tall and strong and full of explosive power, and Shang Shuang, the disciplinary shooter with an aura as sharp as an eagle, stepped out of the car at the same time, which also caused quite a stir. Good guys, the 3 most popular candidates for the top spot at the city level are gathered together. Among the third-year candidates in this class, only the Dragon Master is the least promising. Indeed, what a waste. Quote. These 3 are all famous geniuses, and their family backgrounds are also wealthy. It can be said that he is the dream prince in the eyes of most girls. When these 3 geniuses appeared together, their eyes met each other. Then, under the surprised eyes of everyone, they came together, shook hands and talked with each other. It seems that these 3 geniuses have a good relationship. A few more minutes passed. Didi, another luxury car arrives. Immediately afterwards, wearing a plain white priest's dress, Su Ru, who looked pure and charming, just held the scepter in her hand and proudly stepped out of the car. When Su Ru appeared, Swish, swish, swish. Not only the other candidates, but also the 3 popular candidates for the city-level championship, all turned their attention to Su-ru at this moment. And the 3 talented players who were like stars actually took the initiative and walked up to Su-ru. Xiaoro, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The noble and elegant Tian Jinming smiled. Xiaoro, have you formed a team? The domineering Hu Yibo also asked. And Shang Shuang, who looked as cold as an iceberg, walked straight to Su-ru and said in an indifferent tone, team up with me. Wow, the scene in front of me of 3 husbands competing for a daughter, Mary Sue, immediately made every girl cover her mouth, with envy, jealousy and hatred on her face. Ah, how great it would be if Su-ru's position were replaced by theirs. However, just when everyone was about to guess who Su-ru would choose to team up with, Su-ru showed a very polite and sweet smile. I'm sorry, everyone, I already have a team candidate, you can only invite someone else, I'm very sorry. The words fell. The originally lively scene suddenly fell silent. Everyone's expressions froze. Su-ru, there is actually a candidate to form a team. Ah, what's going on? This princess of the Su family, who is considered a top priest among her peers, actually has other candidates. Who is that person? Everyone was stunned, including the 3 popular candidates for the city-level championship. If Su-ru chooses one of these 3 geniuses to be a teammate, then no one will be surprised. It even feels natural. After all, the proud daughter of heaven must be worthy of the proud son of heaven. But the problem is, now Su-ru has chosen someone other than these 3 geniuses as a teammate. How can this not surprise and shock people? Meanwhile, the audience is more curious. Who is Su-ru's team partner? Countless people began to turn their heads and look around. Only Su-ru. She turned her head slightly, and her long eyes, like autumn water, locked onto the lonely figure standing quietly in the corner. Immediately afterwards, under the surprised gaze of everyone, the princess of the Su family, who was being fought over by 3 geniuses, walked cheerfully to the lonely figure and showed a gentle smile that no one had ever seen before. Qin Fan, here I come. Quiet, deathly silence. Everyone stared at the scene in front of them in stunned silence. It was as if his 3 views had been shattered. Especially after seeing the true face of that lonely figure, it was even more unacceptable. Qin Fan. It turned out to be Qin Fan. How could it be him? This was a choice that surprised everyone. The rich princess chooses to team up with the poor boy. Do you think you are acting in a love scene? The most unacceptable among them are the 3 proud men of heaven. If I had to use one sentence to describe their mood, that is, I can't figure out where I lost. In terms of appearance and temperament, they are not much worse than Qin Fan. In terms of talent, he directly crushes Qin Fan. In terms of wealth background, it's crushing again. Su-ru didn't team up with them. Instead, she went to team up with Qin Fan. And it is said that this Qin Fan is still an extremely useless hidden profession, Dragon Master. Without dragons, Dragon Masters can't even compete with some enhanced professions. Such a waste. Su-ru, a priest, actually chose to team up with him. Let's talk about why these 3 proud men value Su-ru so much. On the one hand, it's because Su-ru has fair skin and beautiful appearance. On the other hand, they are optimistic about Su-ru's future prospects. As early as before, news had spread in Anning City that the head of the Su family seemed to have saved a big boss by accident. Then the big boss took out a weapon in order to repay the Su family for saving his life. The second scroll of this priest profession is given to the Su family. Scroll of the priest's second turn. For those so-called famous families, it is not very expensive and can be afforded by gritting one's teeth. But the problem is that the scroll purchased by the Su family is said to be a special scroll for the priest's second-level hidden profession. Psalm singer. In the next 4 transformations, he will become a special existence of seraph. Oh my god. This is also the fundamental reason why Su-ru is pursued so desperately by these 3 geniuses. As everyone knows, the more advanced the secret realm copy, the higher the difficulty, and the more necessary it is to form a team. Then reliable teammates are very important. Su-ru, who can transform into a hymn singer once she reaches level 30, is undoubtedly their best choice. Not only is she fair-skinned and beautiful, but she is also a powerful hidden auxiliary profession. Couples download the dungeon and kill monsters while loving each other. It's a pleasure to think about it. It is said that even some famous families in other provinces contacted the head of the Su family and wanted to form a marriage alliance after hearing about this incident. But they were all declined by the head of the Su family. But everyone knows that these famous families will never give up. Taking advantage of the convenience of being on a first-come first-served basis near the water, these three geniuses took the opportunity to submit a team application here. By the way, he proved his strength in the job transfer college entrance examination, which made Su-ru look at her with admiration. But I didn't expect that Cheng Yaojin suddenly appeared halfway. But the key point is that this, Cheng Yaojin is still useless. This is very dissatisfying. Su-ru, you wouldn't tell me that your team candidate is this useless dragon master, right? Tian Jinming frowned. He has an arrogant personality. Although he actively pursues Su-ru, he will not be a licking dog, so his tone is not very polite. He is my friend, please be respectful. Hearing Tian Jinming scolding Qin Fan is a waste, Su-ru's pretty face was immediately stained with a layer of frost. Su-ru, regardless of whether he is your friend or not, I don't think he is worthy of teaming up with you. Hu Yibo shook his head. He continued, I'm afraid you don't know what to tell you. He has no father or mother and grew up in an orphanage. As for his profession, you should know that without a dragon, he is just a useless dragon master. Teaming up with us is the wisest choice. Even the taciturn Shang Shuang uttered a few words, he is indeed not worthy of you. And after these three geniuses expressed their opinions, the candidates around him were also talking a lot at this moment. Is Su-ru blind? She fell in love with such a waste. A dragon master without a dragon teamed up with a priest to download a dungeon. Haha, it's funny just thinking about it. I think Su-ru's grades will be dragged down, and she may not even be able to get into a key university. This Qin Fan has no self-awareness at all. He is delaying the achievements of this goddess. Quote. Listening to these voices, Su-ru's pretty face became even colder. Just when she was about to rise up and retort, her wrist was pulled. Turn around and look. Qin Fan, who noticed that his expression was indifferent from beginning to end, gently shook his head at her, indicating that there was no need to argue with these scornful guys. Seeing this, Su-ru took a deep breath, and then showed a gentle and sweet smile again. She just stood beside Qin Fan obediently. This scene. This undoubtedly made the three geniuses even more angry. But at this moment, buzz. Suddenly, space ripples appeared on the podium at the front of Anning Square, and their movements interrupted the tense atmosphere. The next second, dozens of impressive figures in suits and leather shoes appeared on the rostrum. When these dozens of figures appeared, the originally noisy square suddenly became quiet. A solemn look appeared on everyone's face. Because of the figures who appeared on the rostrum, in addition to the principals and teachers of major high schools in Anning City, there were also three big figures from the Longguo Education Bureau. Lu Bin, that protege of the King of Hell. He actually came to our small place in person to supervise the college entrance examination for job transfer. Ah, is this the legendary third-turn sword master? Why does his aura look so ordinary? Idiot, by the time you reach that level, your control over your sword will have become extremely exquisite, and your sword will that can destroy heaven and earth can be restrained without any ripples. Oh my god, you are indeed a boss. Quote. In a murmur of discussion, all the candidates knew that the man standing in the middle was the legendary star-slaying sword master. He is also the proud disciple of the King of Hell. At only 28 years old, he has already reached level 65 and achieved the status of a third-level sword master. Unexpectedly, such a person would deign to come to Anning City to be the general supervisor of the college entrance examination. Qin Fan also looked at the big shot above at this moment. At this time, Lu Bin, who holds the title of Star-Slaying Sword Master, suddenly stood up and looked around at all the candidates in the square with a pair of sharp eyes that seemed to be washed by the sword's incomparable clarity. Then, he said slowly and loudly, about some precautions and special rules for the college entrance examination for job transfer, your class teacher must have repeated them countless times. I won't be verbose here. Then, I hereby announce that the college entrance examination for job transfer has officially begun. Please ask the staff to release the secret portal. When Lu Bin finished speaking, buzz. In the center of the entire square, extremely violent spatial ripples suddenly spread. I saw a series of silver-white doors appearing out of thin air in the middle of the square. Vaguely, all the third-grade candidates could hear the roar of monsters coming from behind the door. Sure enough, it's a silver-level secret realm. When all the candidates saw the silver-white door appearing in front of them, they all showed solemn expressions. Actually, in the previous college entrance examinations for job transfer, the test questions were all silver-level secret realms. And the monsters inside are relatively moderate in strength and not too difficult. But this year is different. Although they are all silver-level secret realms, everyone knows that the monsters inside must be very strong. At least it's not something that third-year graduates like them can handle easily. This has resulted in 90% of the candidates on the field now choosing to form a team. And those candidates who don't form a team basically want to do it alone. However, the difficulty selection will definitely be lowered to a level. Okay, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense. The good wind carries me to the sky with its power. Whether you can successfully take advantage of the good trend of the job transfer college entrance examination and become a great success depends on your own strength. Now I announce that this year's Longguo Transfer College Entrance Examination has officially begun. Lu Bin is worthy of being the disciple of the King of Hell. Unlike other leaders who like to talk a lot of nonsense, the start of the college entrance examination for job transfer was immediately announced. When Lu Bin finished speaking, all candidates also responded. Buzz. When these candidates' fingers gently touched the silver-white door. The next moment, a vast amount of copy information poured into everyone's mind. Secret Realm, Tomb Maze. Level requirements, level 13 to 20. Difficulty options, easy, normal, hard, hell. Number of people, 1 to 5 people. Secret background. According to legend, this is the burial place of a deceased king of a certain empire. Countless gravediggers have entered this tomb one after another in order to make a fortune, but the strange thing is that no one has ever survived. Rules for job transfer college entrance examination. 1. Each candidate is only allowed to take 2 blue returning medicines and 2 blood returning medicines. If the number is exceeded, the total score will be reduced. 2. There is no limit to the level of weapons and equipment. The rating in the 3-team mode is 20% lower than the rating in the solo mode. Holy crap, it's actually a tomb maze. I'm naturally afraid of ghosts. It seems that I have to choose an easy difficulty for solo play. I can't get past the normal difficulty. I also choose the easy difficulty, and above the normal difficulty, environmental debuffs will appear, which will be very uncomfortable. Quote. When the candidates saw that the test question turned out to be a tomb maze, they were immediately panicked. The main reason is that this tomb maze is the most difficult secret realm dungeon in all previous career transfer college entrance examinations. It is said that any year when the tomb labyrinth is used as a question for the college entrance examination for job transfer, the single-player pass rate is as low as 30%. Even the team clearance rate is only 50%. This is a very low value. The clearance rate can truly reflect whether this secret realm copy is difficult or not. Generally speaking, as long as it is a normal team, it can pass the level smoothly. As a result, this tomb maze copy was so difficult that even after forming a team, the clearance rate was only 50%. In other words, nearly half of the candidates cannot pass the test. This, Miss Su-Ru, are you sure you really want to team up with that useless dragon master? Just before preparing to officially enter the copy, the 3 geniuses, Tian Jinming, Hu Yibo, and Shang Shuang, came to Su-Ru again. Su-Ru's expression is still cold. I say it again, Qin Fan is my friend. He is not a waste. He's stronger than any of you. When Su-Ru finished speaking, poof, not to mention the 3 of them, Tian Jinming. Even the candidates around him couldn't help but burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, the useless dragon master is stronger than any of us. Although the eldest lady of the Su family is beautiful, she has no brains. Wait a minute, team up with this dragon master. I'm afraid Su-Ru has never died before. You know, people will die in the secret realm of the college entrance examination. Quote. Listening to the discussions around me, Su-Ru's pretty face turned red with anger, and her delicate body trembled even more. Qin Fan's expression remained indifferent. He never cared about these derogatory and taunting words. It's just like a dog barking. And, next, he will use his strength and achievements to slap these people in the face. Let's go. Chin Fan just took Su Ru's jade hand and walked towards the silver door. Su Ru suddenly felt Chin Fan holding her little hand, and her pretty face turned red, but she didn't struggle at all and allowed this young man of her own age to pull her. This scene, it undoubtedly made Tian Jinming, Hu Yibo and others even more angry. What a stupid woman. Hu Yibo couldn't help but curse. If I team up with a loser, I'm afraid I won't be at the bottom when the results come out. Shang Shuang also said coldly. Okay, everyone, hurry up and enter the dungeon. Tian Jinming said calmly. Subsequently, many candidates also took a deep breath, calmed down their nervous hearts, gritted their teeth, and rushed into the silver gate. Bite. A team has entered the secret realm. A team has entered the secret realm. A team has entered the secret realm. Soon, Anning Square, which was originally crowded with people, was completely empty. Reminder messages appeared on the screen responsible for broadcasting the live broadcast of the candidate's attack status. Every year's job transfer college entrance examination is not allowed to be broadcast online. Outsiders are not allowed to watch. Only the leaders and teachers of each school. Only the leaders of the Longguo Education Bureau are qualified to watch the live broadcast of each candidate's achievements. At this moment, law enforcement officers have been stationed around Anning Square for a long time. In this world where games and reality merge, career changers are a powerful force that all countries must pay attention to. To put it more emphatically, these college entrance examination graduates are the mainstay of supporting the Dragon Kingdom in the future. At the same time, it is also a vital force on the demonic frontline battlefield. With such an important existence, Longguo naturally does not allow the information of these students to be disclosed. To know, in this job transfer college entrance examination that requires all-out efforts, every candidate will fight with all their strength. By then, his talents, secret techniques, fighting style, etc. will appear on the live broadcast screen. If this key information is leaked, it will be remembered by foreign forces. Even if this student grows up in the future, if his talent and secret skills are known in advance, he will be easily targeted. Therefore, Longguo maintains extremely strict confidentiality on the information of every job transferee. Even the teacher will tell every student to set their information panel to private and uninspectable. This is also the reason why the entire Anning Square is completely isolated. Why did the little princess of the Su family team up with Chin Fan? And at this time, many teachers finally saw one of the pictures on the huge floor-to-ceiling screen, in which the registered team information was Chin Fan, Su Ru. This undoubtedly shocked the principal and teachers. Isn't this Chin Fan, a student from No. 1 middle school who transferred to become a dragon master? Not only did he not give up on the college entrance examination, he actually found Su Ru as a teammate. Nonsense. Teaming up with a dragon master who doesn't have a dragon to play a dungeon, isn't this a joke about his college entrance examination? By the way, does Su Ru's father know that his daughter is doing such nonsense? If I knew it, I'm afraid a mouthful of old blood would spurt out. Lao Luo, what's going on with you? Among all the priest candidates, Su Ru is the most outstanding one, and you actually asked her to team up with a dragon master. Holy crap. And this kid actually chose the hell level difficulty. Quote. Really, the principals of major high schools began to blame the principal of number 1 middle school. Luo Yang, the principal of No. 1 middle school, was also shocked when he heard this. He looked at Chin Fan's class teacher, Zhao Li, very sternly. Zhao Li was also excited. He never expected that the most famous princess of the Su family in the class would choose to team up with Chin Fan. After all, everyone knows that a dragon master without a dragon is no different from a waste. Zhao Li felt like crying without tears. Okay, what's going on with you principals and teachers? Are you all belittling the students like this? At this time, Lu Bin couldn't stand it anymore. Director Lu, you don't know something. This Chin Fan has changed his profession to a dragon master. Although it is a hidden profession, you also know that if there is no dragon in this profession, it will be almost the same as an ordinary person. At this time, Fang Detong, the principal of No. 3 middle school, said with a sneer. As soon as this statement came out, even Lu Bin fell silent. Dragon Master. This is a very embarrassing profession. As everyone knows, dragons stand at the top of all beasts. It is very powerful. Even an adult dragon, its strength is comparable to 2 rank 4 to the strongest. If it is the pinnacle holy dragon, after he reaches adulthood, he is even more powerful and capable of defeating 4 4th level warriors with the power of a dragon. No way. The dragon clan is so powerful and unreasonable. It is precisely because of this. Even the most rubbish earth dragon has a very arrogant personality. It will not make a contract with humans easily. The Dragon Master is different from the ordinary Beast Master. He can only sign a contract with the Dragon Clan with the purest and most powerful blood. But the problem is, will those extremely powerful top dragons be willing to sign a contract with you and be willing to become humans' dragon pets? That's certainly not the case. This time, even Lu Bin sighed secretly. This Su Ru, really not thoughtful enough. How could he team up with the Dragon Master? Obviously if she teamed up with Tian Jinming, Hu Yibo and others, she would at least have a chance of entering the top 100 at the provincial level, let alone being a high-ranking player. Su Ru's supporting ability is not something that can't be overcome. Tian Jinming, Hu Yibo and other geniuses are not fools. They are not willing to team up with Su Ru just because she is beautiful. They are also attracted by Su Ru's auxiliary ability that far exceeds other priest candidates. Okay, now that this is the case, it means that this is Su Ru's choice. As teachers, we should understand our students better and wait for the results. Lu Bin finally spoke. The other principals and teachers also stopped talking. But when he looked at Luo Yang, his eyes were full of hatred, as if he was blaming him for causing such an excellent priest like Su Ru to go astray. It seemed that Su Ru could only wait for the re-examination next year. Your team has successfully entered the secret realm, Crypt Maze. Team selection difficulty, Hell level. The town return scroll has been distributed to your built-in space, please use it when you are in danger. The so-called built-in space is actually the game package. As everyone knows, in each game, the character will have his own package, which is used to store materials, props, equipment, money and other items. Nowadays, games and reality are integrated, so, built-in space is the name of the game package. Qin Fan currently has only 5 grids in the built-in space. And Su Ru has opened dozens of them. This is the difference between a poor boy and a rich lady. Su Ru should have given her a lot of space expansion scrolls at home, so she could open up so many spaces in her own built-in space. When the brief dizziness disappears, Qin Fan and Su Ru opened their eyes and looked. What appeared in front of them was an extremely huge mausoleum. A dark passage leading underground appeared quietly in front of them, like a huge mouth of an abyss, quietly waiting for their entry. Roar! The hoarse and unpleasant monster roar came out so blatantly, as if to warn Qin Fan and Su Ru. Human being, if you dare to break into the tomb without permission, you will die. Hell level tomb maze. I believe that even Tian Jinming and Hu Yibo, who want to play alone, would not dare to choose this difficulty. At most they dare to choose the hard difficulty. Only when they form a team can they dare to set foot on this level of difficulty. Looking at the dark underground passage in front of her, Su Ru clenched the scepter in her hand and then raised it gently. Buzz. Illumination. A bright light flashed at the head of the scepter. Let's go. Qin Fan took the lead and walked at the front. Su Ru also followed closely. Just after entering the underground passage, a foul smell hit her face, making Su Ru almost retching. The stench was like that of completely rotten and broken flesh. You don't need to look at it to know that the tomb-guarding monster inside must be an undead zombie. And what made Su Ru change her expression was that as soon as she stepped into the corridor, an indescribable pressure fell on her shoulders. After feeling it carefully, I found that my attributes were overall reduced by 30%. Even perception and movement are much slower. The debuff effect of this hell-level illusion is really powerful. It actually reduced 30% of all attributes of the challenger. Qin Fan couldn't help but sigh. Environmental debuffs. A mechanism that exists in many secret realm dungeons. That is, when you enter this secret realm, certain attributes of the breaker will be weakened. For example, strength, wisdom, perception, etc. But like the debuff in front of him that suddenly reduced all attributes by 30%, Qin Fan couldn't help but sigh. No wonder the candidates howled as soon as they heard that Yama was the one who wrote the question. Who can withstand this kind of unreasonable environmental debuff? If I guess correctly, normal difficulty reduces all attributes by 10%. Hard difficulty reduces all attributes by 20%. Hell difficulty reduces all attributes by 30%. Only the king of hell would set such a heartbreaking level. Smell cleansing. Seeing Su-Ru's pretty face turning pale from disgust at the rotten smell, Qin Fan did not hesitate to apply the smell purification skill to himself and Su-Ru. Smell purification and eye of appraisal are both general skills. You can choose any profession. You actually ordered this skill. Su-Ru felt much more comfortable instantly. The disgusting rotten smell was purified into fresh air and entered her nasal cavity again. She felt unprecedentedly comfortable. In the secret realm dungeon, the illusion will also have a certain impact on the passers-by, so I learned this skill just in case. Qin Fan said calmly. Of course, the main reason is that in addition to strengthening his own skills, he uses the leftover scraps to learn these general skills that are sometimes used unexpectedly. It should be noted that each career changer's professional skills can be enhanced with skill points. It can be enhanced up to 100%. And every time it is strengthened to 30%, 50%, 70%, or 100%, new effects will appear on professional skills above level B. Therefore, skill points can not only be used to learn skills, but also can be used to strengthen the power of skills. The skill points Qin Fan currently gained from upgrading have strengthened the Fire Dragon Bullet to 5%. The more advanced the skill, the more skill points are needed to strengthen it. This also shows how precious skill points are. All career changers must be cautious when strengthening and learning skills. After all, there are not many ways to obtain skill points. The first way is that when you upgrade, you will be rewarded with attribute points and skill points. The second way is to get rewards for clearing the secret realm copy. The third way is to eat expensive and rare natural treasures. These are the main three ways. Don't be surprised, the battle preparations have begun. Qin Fan said in a deep voice. Su-Ru nodded heavily, a solemn and serious look appeared on her pretty face. As the two of them gradually went deeper into the underground passage, the ominous sense of danger became stronger. It's coming, Qin Fan reminded softly. His extremely keen perception allowed him to clearly hear the hoarse roars of zombies full of hunger for flesh and blood coming from the end of the corridor. Clang! The Zanjing Earth Scale Sword was finally held in his hand. Despair. Not only did he not slow down because he was getting closer to the monster, but he immediately accelerated and ran. Blessing of weapons. Blessings from the wind. And Su-Ru also sent buff to Qin Fan in a timely manner. Buzz. With the blessing of these two skills, the black crystal earth scale sword in Qin Fan's hand began to shine brightly, the attack power increased by 10%, and the speed also increased by 30% at this moment. Just when Su-Ru was about to apply another buff to Qin Fan, she heard Qin Fan's voice. Remember to control blue, these two buffs are enough. Say it. Wow. His whole body jumped out from the entrance of the underground passage and officially entered the first level of the crystal maze. Ouch. In this very wide underground palace square, nearly 100 zombie monsters roared violently at the humans jumping into the air. Despair. Qin Fan's slender figure landed lightly in front of these zombie monsters. Under the eye of appraisal, the detailed information of all zombie monsters is directly presented in front of you. Monster. Buried zombie. Level 17. Type. Humanoid monster. Skills. Venomous bite. Self-explosion poisonous mist. Qualification. Silver. Note. He was originally a civilian. After the death of the emperor, he was buried alive as a funerary object. He was so resentful that he turned into a zombie and wandered in the maze of underground tombs. No need to look. As a secret realm dungeon for the job transfer college entrance examination, its level settings should be relatively traditional. The first level is the warm-up level. But even in the warm-up level, the number of zombies buried with them was nearly 100. You must know that even in the goblin secret realm that Qin Fan cleared in the wild before, there were only 20 or 30 goblin monsters in the first level. As a result, there are nearly 100 of them here. And every zombie buried with him is level 17. It's still the same sentence. It is indeed a test question arranged by the King of Hell. Ouch! There was no hesitation. This group of buried zombies immediately started to kill Chin Fan. The disgusting appearance covered with maggots is even more frowning. Su Ru, who had just walked out of the corridor, looked at this scene and started applying buff to Chin Fan anytime and anywhere. She is very clear about her responsibilities. As an auxiliary profession, it is to use all your strength to protect the front row output. However, the scene that appeared in the next second completely shocked Su Ru. Wow! Chin Fan suddenly swept forward, the Xuanjing Earth Scale Sword in his hand, and a snow-white sword energy containing terrifying cutting power spread out. Ah! The zombies who rushed to the front screamed and were cut in half under Chin Fan's sword. Flash sale. Moreover, he killed at least a dozen buried zombies instantly with just one sword strike. This, before Su Ru could make a sound of shock. Wow! Chin Fan tiptoed, and his entire body instantly jumped to a height of 5 meters. At the same time, he also avoided the buried zombies that came from behind. The group of buried zombies raised their heads and tried to reach out to catch Chin Fan, who jumped into the air. However, Chin Fan shouted low at this moment and threw the Xuanjing Earth Scale Sword in his hand in the direction of Su Ru. Bite! A clear voice sounded. The extremely sharp Xuanjing Earth Scale Sword was thrust into Su Ru's side. But Chin Fan, who was supposed to fall to the ground and be attacked and eaten by zombies, was directly pulled away by some unknown force and flew towards Su Ru. At this time, only then did Su Ru realize that Chin Fan had already tied a silk thread to the hilt of the sword. As the Xuanjing Earth Scale Sword was thrown out by him, his figure in the air was also pulled over. Boom! The next moment, the stomachs of the dozens of buried zombies killed by Chin Fan suddenly bulged, and finally exploded with a loud bang, forming a poisonous mist area with a diameter of 5 meters. Self-destructive poisonous fog. It seems that this is a skill that every zombie will automatically trigger after death. Certainly, because these group of buried zombies were too close together, they were also implicated by the dozens of self-destructed buried zombies. Boom boom boom. The consequence of this is a series of self-destructions. Puff puff puff. Waves of green poisonous mist were generated directly and began to slowly spread towards the underground palace square. But the still surviving buried zombies still opened their ferocious mouths and attacked Chin Fan and Su Ru. Su Ru looked at this scene with a pale face, and was about to ask how to deal with it. Whoosh! Chin Fan on the side rushed out again very calmly and calmly. Wow! The cold-blooded Chin Fan just waved the Xuanjing Earth Scale Sword in his hand mercilessly, and once again killed more than a dozen buried zombies in front of him with the sword. At the same time, he took out several round objects from his built-in space, and threw them directly at the group of buried zombies. Immediately afterwards, Fire Dragon Bullet. Raging, a fireball emitting billowing heat instantly transformed into the shape of a dragon's head and blasted towards the group of zombies. I have to say, the impact of this fireball is enough to make people admire it. Unbiased, he landed right in the middle of the zombie crowd. The result is, boom, a deafening explosion sounded, and the round black things exploded completely under the burning of the fire dragon bombs. Raging, it is precisely because of this. After the destructive hot fire dragon bomb exploded, with the blessing of these bombs, the flames became even more blazing, completely submerging all the remaining zombies in an instant. Bang bang bang. As expected, the moment the group of zombies were burned to death, they caused the poisonous mist to explode again. Hoo-ho! These poisonous mist spread like a tide of mist, gradually shrouding Chin Fan and Su Ru. Buzz! Just when Su Ru was about to raise her scepter and use the group skill, Holy Light Purification, Chin Fan stretched out his hand to stop her. Then under Su Ru's puzzled gaze, he took out the white ball from the built-in space. Then, bang, throw it into the ground without hesitation. Buzz! The white ball suddenly bloomed with dazzling white light, and Su Ru was keenly aware that there was also a majestic power of purification spreading out. In her doubtful eyes, just for a moment, the small square of the underground palace, which was about to be completely shrouded in poisonous fog, was directly dispersed by this purifying force. All the poisonous mist quickly melted away at this moment. Rumble! In the middle of the small square of the underground palace, a gate opened, and the entrance to an underground passage leading to the second level gradually emerged. This means, the first level is officially passed. Su Ru was completely stunned. What the hell? Does this pass? She just used 2 skills. And she originally thought that Qin Fan would have to summon Xiaoju under this predicament, but she didn't expect that he would solve it easily. This moment, her inner concepts seemed to be shattered. It's not just dragons that are strong. As the master of the dragon, Qin Fan's personal fighting power and fighting skills are also ridiculously strong. What are you still waiting for? Hurry up and leave. Qin Fan urged and started walking towards the second level without any hesitation. Oh. Su Ru came back to her senses and quickly followed Qin Fan's footsteps. Quiet, deathly silence. The outside world at this moment. On the rostrum, every teacher, principal, and even the leaders of the Education Bureau, and even the star-slaying sword master Lu Bin, had completely dull expressions. Their eyes were filled with deep disbelief. What the hell is this? One teacher's expression could be described as horrified. What did she just see? Qin Fan actually passed the first level in less than 30 seconds. Am I dreaming? Lu Bin turned his head slowly at this moment, looked at the teachers and principal, and said in a deep voice, "This is the useless profession you call dragon controller." Everyone, each and every one of them immediately became mute. The most shocking of them all. In fact, it was Zhao Li, Qin Fan's class teacher, and Luo Yang, the principal of No. 1 middle school. To know, when he first changed his job, Luo Yang felt it was a pity, and it could even be said that he had deep regret in his heart. But now, Qin Fan, who thought he was destined to become a waste, staged a perfect battle for all the teachers and principals in just over 20 seconds. Excellent, so excellent. This kid's fighting skills are top-notch. I can't believe that a candidate who has just entered the 3rd grade has such superb combat skills and a calm and valuable character. At this time, a leader next to Lu Bin couldn't help but exclaimed in amazement. This is the director of the Anning City Education Bureau, named Lu Jinliang. At this moment he finally couldn't bear it anymore. No way. The scene before his eyes had to make him applaud and marvel. Excellent indeed. His body control is so perfect. The first wave enters the field and lands right in the middle of the zombies. This is to attract the hatred of all monsters and prevent other zombies from chasing Su Ru. Then there is his terrifying power attribute. The sword in his hand is no ordinary weapon, but the power fluctuations produced when he swings the sword are even more amazing. Killed a dozen zombies with one sword. And the key is that under such a heavy encirclement, he was still able to jump up calmly. Using the inertia of swinging the sword, he tied the hilt of the sword with a silk thread in advance, causing him to fall into the zombies again. Quote, "This fighting method of taking one step and calculating the next 3 steps is really amazing. It's unimaginable that this would be done by a person who you jokingly call a wasteful profession." Another leader of the Anning City Education Bureau also echoed the sentiment. These words, all the teachers and principals were instantly speechless, with a look of guilt on their faces. The most exciting thing is the use of props just now. Regarding the use of props, our regulations do not allow the use of props above B level. In the end, this kid used the simplest, thunder, and purification bomb, to solve the problem of zombie swarms and poisonous mist residue. If my teacher were here, he would be high-fiving and amazed. Even the star-slaying sword master Lu Bin joined in the praise at this moment. Teachers, principals, slap in the face. What a slap in the face. Explosive thunder and purification bomb are F-level items. Normally no one even bothers to take a look. Unexpectedly, Qin Fan had prepared so many props in advance. But it really worked for him. Of course, the most important thing is that this Qin Fan actually mastered a fire attribute magic attack. This makes the originally mediocre thunderstorm, but after being blessed by the fire element of this fire attribute magic, the explosive power has been increased to a higher level. And the key is that it also saves a lot of mana for the priest profession in the team. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You must know that according to the rules of the college entrance examination for job transfer, you are only allowed to drink the blue medicine twice. The group purification skill, Holy Light Purification, consumes very mana. For young priests who have just changed jobs, it is estimated that 20% of the maximum mana will be consumed after casting. This is the first level, so consuming so much mana is not a wise choice. Obviously, Chin Fan also took this into consideration before he stopped Suru from using her skills and solved the problem himself. Then turn around and look at the shots of other candidates. Some inexperienced candidates actually killed 2 or 3 zombies, and after the poisonous mist exploded, they were so frightened that they planned to ask the priests in the team to use purification skills to disperse them. This is undoubtedly the stupidest choice. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.